like that, we are back. This is Unpacked, presented to you by the To Be Fair Show and
the G Shit Podcast.
And shout out to the chat. We got a couple people.
It doesn't matter how you feel.
Shout out to the chat. We got a couple people in here waiting. It looks like that's what's up. Again, we got another good one for y'all this week. Should we be policing Black thought? And if so, what are things that we all should agree on?
Should we be policing Black advocates?
Listen, we had an after show before the real show, and before we get into any of those things, I love for our fire panel to introduce themselves. I'm Q. G, talk to him.
What's good, everybody? It's G, host of the G Shit Podcast, where we focus on family, friends, finances, freedom, and our future, and fuck everything else. Check that out wherever you get your podcasts. Just search at GSHPOD.
Mm-hmm. Got it. Below, FBA Zone. Talk to him, brother.
What's good? Happy to be a guest on here. Good to intellectually spar with the brethren. And welcome to Unpacked Show, the only safe spot where you can come over here and spew anti-Black rhetoric, talk ish about the new Black media, and then you will probably go unchecked because that's what we're here for.
Damn, I thought that's what you was on the panel for.
Oh, okay. Be specific. When did I say anything negative about new Black media?
No, I thought that if somebody was to come on here and spew that's what like you are a voice for that side of the aisle. I would imagine that you would have, fair and good rebuttals. But gee, I guess you had a fun icebreaker.
Yeah, I mean, we were talking about this idea of Black advocates, and I'm just curious, like what makes a Black advocate, and why. I'm curious. I'm gonna ask the chat out there, like, do y'all consider Dr. Umar a Black advocate, or is he not a Black advocate? I am curious just to know that out there. But like, what do we consider Black advocates? Is it an internet presence? Is it a community presence? Is it a ability to raise money? Like, what makes someone
institutions, any of those things?
Yeah, like what do we say makes someone a Black advocate today? I'm curious, or advocate for Black people.
I would say if you focus your platform on Black empowerment and a Black perspective. I think for a very long time, if you go through mainstream media, we didn't really have a voice to advocate for us. So what we have now is a great thing, and it's a game changer. So I think that we as Black people have a long history of not supporting our leaders and not protecting them. That's why we see so many go out the way that they did. So now that we have this opportunity again and we have people advocating for us, I think we should be very slow to criticize people if they are doing good. And also, if a person is getting money from that, all broadcasters get money for that. Would you rather me go listen to MSNBC or CNN or one of these other people that get paid? Or if I listen to another person that's giving, current events and giving the FBA perspective and they get money too, should we immediately just call them grifters? Or should we appreciate that we finally have a voice and use that voice, deal with them wisely?
I agree. Yep. I agree with a lot of what you said. Why? My question is, I agree. So boom. Why can't we apply that to somebody like Dr. Umar, even though maybe we don't agree with everything that he does? Has he not put in the work, put himself in position to have a voice, and does he not advocate for the community?
I think he's kind of made himself into a meme, because he's never really serious. Like when he talks about things, he's always repeating it, talking about sugar bots, and it seems like he's hyper fixated on me policing men and talking about getting donations and his school, like the dilapidated bando that hasn't been it hasn't been open in all this time. I mean, under over 5 years. When will it open? And then it seems like he do you want to be a Mac or you're a black advocate? Because it seems now he's always talking about
Mac. Wow.
no, I'm talking like you can talk about a person's past, but currently it seems like he's constantly talking about like trying to get with women. They're talking about oh, let's put the cookies to the side and talk about this right here. It's like, bro, who's trying to send their kid to a school where the principal is online talking like that? Like at some point, like we gotta be a little bit more serious in that. So Umar, you know what I'm saying? As far as advocates go, I think if we get behind him, it'll be a little bit more difficult to be taken seriously.
Gotcha. I guess to answer your question, I guess your original question was, do I see Umar as a black advocate? I would say, yeah. I think that through his POV, he's trying to do what he believes is best for black people. I think that he advocates for the black family. I think that that's probably why he's always pushing for black people to be together. Two parent family household. I think that, like, whether we say the institution is taking a long time or not, like, he has a plan and he's in the process. And I guess according to him, over the summer it should open up. Like, he's went through multiple different stages of getting the school built. Hopefully he does get the school built, and I think that that would be an amazing institution that would be funded by black dollars and again could point towards black progress. I think that from the mental health aspect and what he's done for black boys, especially when it comes down to diagnosis and mental illness and the consultations that he does, pretty much according to him, more times than not pro bono. I think that that is fire black advocacy that's not only just been on the internet, but has kind of like reached the surface and touched people. Does he like entertain as well? Yes. Do I agree with everything he says? No, not at all. Yeah, I recently just seen a clip where he was kind of like ranting about STDs and shit on the stage. I don't agree with that. I think that was you know what I mean, like wild. But it doesn't necessarily discount everything that he does, in my eyes, personally. For me, talking about what I believe a black advocate is in general, I would say somebody in good faith that is putting black people or the progression of black people to the forefront of whatever their conversation, their movement, or whatever they're doing. If I agree with it, cool. If I don't, cool. But I think that focus will probably be the first thing. Just if you're putting the progress of black people first in whatever you're trying to do or say, and the actions that come with that.
Yeah, I agree. I think he is an advocate, and like I feel like in relation to the school, like, would you agree or disagree? Trying to create something like a school specifically for, I think he's starting with young black boys, if I remember correctly. The school is specifically for young black boys, and then he'll open up one for young black girls and build from there. But with the types of messages that he preaches, he preaches about like self-created institutions. We need our own economic this, we need our own healthcare this, we need our own education that. He preaches that. To create a school from scratch, you got to go through a lot of red tape to get facilities, to get permits, to get whatever.
Especially if you're not doing charter too, because like charter you can get a little quicker, but the way he's attempting to do it,
he's got to go through a lot of red tape for the government. Like my question is don't you think that the people in those positions are not trying to help make that an easier pathway for him to go from 0 to 100 as it relates to opening up a school out in Delaware? Like, don't you think he's facing obstacles from government, from people in power who's making this go even longer than what it needs to go?
Of course, but how long has it been though? And what progress? Even if he's starting too big, maybe he could start with something small so you can at least see some progress and work. He's
got a whole building. He's got
start educating some kids, and then.
But you got, I'm saying that there's red tape in that. You got to get licensed. You got to get approved. It's a bunch of hoops and hurdles that you do have to go through to be like, I'm a school teaching kids in an accredited fashion that's deemed, rigorous by the state of Delaware, whatever the case. Like, there are just certain checks boxes you got to cross.
Wouldn't y'all's critique from the new black media that after some time you should have some measurable progress, right? And
I
I
think
think,
he had measurable progress.
I mean, but having a dilapidated bando isn't
See, like that,
necessarily.
but you don't think that that's like a
I agree.
bad mischaracterization to where like
It's like
you would
yeah,
be
why
mad if somebody
okay,
did that
okay.
on the other side for other black advocates.
All
This is
right.
what I'm saying. Like
why do we
sometimes
gotta
you don't
tear
like
down his dilapidated bando? In your words, why
right.
can't it be a rehab property? Like why can't you call it something different?
Okay. Let me be more serious. The building doesn't look very.
FBA be joking. That's what's up. I like that.
Word. I'm saying, I think that at some point buying a building isn't as important. Like, what's that? Like Randall or something like that. There was some guy that has a school, and I can't remember his name. But it's a very small school. He starts with a small group of guys. I think he got into it with Roland Martin one time, and he's already making progress educating kids, and he's not going through all the red tape. And at some point, like, is there a time limit?
But doesn't he still do the consultations and like the mental health?
I give him credit for that because he
so if he's
really
doing two, doesn't he get credit for still helping actively and building an institution?
I give him full credit because he talks about black people being put into like special needs programs and stuff like that. When
young black boys.
I agree with that 100%, and I think he's made a lot of progress in that regard. But as far as like getting online and then like kind of making a mockery of a lot of this pro-black stuff, is that becomes like embarrassing because I don't want, when people think pro-black, I don't want to think about Umar Jackson repeating stuff a bunch of times and seem like he's just pandering. He's obviously pandering to women. Will we agree with that? When it seems like he just wants to demonize men and then talk about how, like you just, the same old like preacher man hustle where you just like feed their emotions. You don't really hold them accountable. When you do, you kind of get in trouble. But that's the part that I think is a little bit too unserious, to where if he was behind the scenes, like helping people with consultations and stuff like that, I'm cool with that. But this whole getting on, like when he's online, he's talking about things other than just mental health, which is, I think that's his position where he does well. These other things seem like, I don't know if that's
you don't
really,
agree with his social positions.
Or even if I did agree with his social positions, I don't agree with the way he goes about advocating for it, because he's a joke. I think he's pushing people in the opposite direction because of his clownishness, to where like even if you agree with him and you weren't in favor of interracial dating, when you see him, like, he's a meme now. From when you do it, you talk about, I'm sorry, Umar, because he's a joke. Nobody takes him seriously. So it's kind of, at some point, maybe it does more harm than good. And also, is there a point where you would want? Is there any point where the school's not open will to accept that this might be a grift? Because how long has it been? It's been
if the school doesn't ever get open, right? I think that it will be a clear grift.
It's been at least like 6 or 7 years, man. I keep going up
since he's bought the school and renovated the school and you got to accept donations, get the money in the capital first to purchase the school, then you have to do the renovation.
How many years do you between starting accepting donations and building a school? How many years? He didn't build it though.
He bought an old building, but even that,
take that word out.
I think that can, like, if you're crowdfunding all the money to do all those things, that could take a while. Just imagine. This isn't like saying that. Yeah, like the answer to your question is it could take a while. Like, whether you think he's taking too long or not, I think that if you're crowdfunding something as big as purchasing commercial real estate and then doing full renovations to get it up par, not just for people to live in, but for a school, because that's its own separate thing, and then going through all the things that comes with getting a school licensed, I think that like those things, in the process of both of those things, just take a lot of time, especially if you're not going the charter school route, because you could still kind of be adjacent to public funding.
I understand it's not going to be overnight, but from the time that you start receiving donations to the time where you actually start educating students, what's your gut feel estimate for how long is an understandable amount of time? A decade? More than a decade?
I don't know.
I mean, he's
So
not doing it
indefinitely.
with like corporate backing. He's not doing it
Yeah.
with like any.
So
If I didn't
no
see
amount of,
incremental
no amount of
steps,
time.
I guess my thing is if I didn't see incremental steps, then I would care more. But it seems that every time, like I don't like just follow him and follow his back, but every time I go back and check and see what's happening, like a year goes by or 3 years go by, there is an incremental step that's kind of happening. To where I'm like,
what's
oh,
now?
okay.
What's the latest step? Because I heard HVAC. It was like some years ago. I know, and I saw we got the HVAC. Now what's up? So that was a while ago. Now what's up?
I think according to the last time, I think I might have heard him talk. Maybe it was like a year ago. It was something dealing with getting some part of the building up to code, and then they're pretty much done. From last time I heard, he said that by the summer they'll be good. So that's all I can go.
Here's another thing.
I don't really like tune into like every speech he gives, but last time I heard, but to me, the fact that he purchased a commercial building and did the renovation. If you're saying it was a dilapidated bando and he got it up to code to actually be a school, I think that takes a lot of time. Yeah, yes. So yeah, I don't know. I think that takes time. I'm not here to say like he did it fast enough or it wasn't, but that's not a quick project if you're crowdfunding it.
I understand that. And again, I was halfway joking with the dilapidated bando and everything, but in all seriousness, based on Dr. Umar's antics and a lot of things where the way he lives his life and his subject matter, and it sounds like sometimes he kind of comes off as very like sex obsessed with a lot of his rhetoric. Because why are we even talking about that all the time? Would you feel comfortable sending your son to his school if Umar is the principal and that's the type of rhetoric he puts online? Because I don't think most principals, I think they carry themselves a little bit more professionally.
I guess a couple different things. Principals in general, like I know a couple principals that I went to school with, like they mad regular people. Like yeah, I definitely start off by saying that I don't think that he's done the worst shit online of principals that maybe even I possibly.
Oh really? You know principals that be online talking about sugar boxes and shit?
I know principals that have done enough shit online. Yeah, I just put it like that.
You saw when he pulled that little African, what do they call it, a phallic thing, and started talking about sex with that.
No, I haven't seen
he's
that.
He's got a long. The clip I sent you last night was just a tip of the iceberg where he was talking about how black men have all these STDs.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
That's yeah. So I don't know. He's never professed to be a part of New Black Media. When I talk about New Black Media, I'm talking about people that report on current events. And even if you disagree with them, would you prefer black people just have MSNBC? Or would you say that New Black Media is a much better source for news than the mainstream white media?
I would say as it relates to, see, it's like you're bundling New Black Media, but I would argue like it's not quote unquote media if you're reacting to mainstream news articles. Like, to really truly be New Black Media, that means you got to be like independent journalists who's on the ground doing the investigations, talking to the people, writing your own, like a beat writer, so to speak. Like you for it to really be like New Black Media, in my opinion, that would be an entity that's New Black Media, where you got black journalists, black reporters, black editors on the ground, and it's like a fully integrated, vertical operation. A lot of the things that I hear referred to as New Black Media are people who are just responding or reacting to mainstream media articles and sound bites and clips and things of that nature. Like it's not necessarily that they're on the ground writing their own, articles or reports or whatever the case.
What if it's a mixture? For one, what if it's a mixture of reactions and also being there, feet on the ground, and reporting your events, and also having a network of people that do that and reporting on them, and then platforming those people as well as interviewing presidential candidates, like third-party candidates, which I've seen them do that a few times as well, and attending these events and contributing to these events and reporting to the people what they find, as well as creating documentaries that are original content, and also we have mainstream media. Of course, they have like a monopoly on a lot of these things. So I think to say that the bar for them to be able to be on the same level as these mainstream media platforms, for them to have this network of editors and all this other stuff, I think we're getting there. But maybe I think we have. What if we have some elements of all of those things you said that are lacking? Would you say that that's valuable, more valuable than just going directly to corporate white media?
It's definitely more valuable. I don't think that's it's definitely valuable to have different perspectives. I've always been pro different perspective.
So if that's all we have, if we want to have a black perspective, it's either the new black media or it's corporate white news, then that makes it invaluable, because other than them, what do we have? Like, who else is going to go sit down with Jill Stein and talk about her platform from a Black American perspective other than Jason Black? And same with Cornel West with Black Alpha Network, who's also in these reparations panels and reporting back with thousands of viewers talking about what he found, also taking live video conversations with people there. Like, if that is what we have, isn't that an asset to Black empowerment?
Yeah, I wouldn't disagree with that.
So as people who benefit from that, why would we be critical of that instead of maybe contribute?
Wait, who when you say critical, what was the criticism? What was critical and when?
I would say a few days ago, the show where I called in at the end with Q, the To Be Fair show, you know what I'm saying? It's a plug on Saturdays, you know what I'm saying? Check them out. Sundays, my fault. So you were talking about how he's Tariq Nasheed's just a grifter, and he gets on every day.
Is that what I said? I said he was just a grifter.
No, you said he maybe not just a grifter, but you said he was a grifter, and you said that you said
I don't think I said he was a grifter on that episode.
Oh, so you didn't say anything about him. Just
no,
you didn't know about his mother.
I can tell you what I could tell you,
and you also talked about his mother-in-law.
I didn't talk about his mother-in-law in there. I've actually never made like a joke about his. I've laughed at somebody make a joke about it. You've never once. Let me know, what have I actually stated about his mother-in-law? Like, you bring this up often. I have no idea what I personally have said.
So you haven't said anything about his mother-in-law. That's what you're telling me right now.
I'm asking you. No, what have I said? What have I personally said?
Right now, you're pretending like you haven't said anything. So can you
tell me? No, again,
I know you said something, but now
I know I literally didn't.
Tell me what you tell. Oh, so you never said anything about his mother-in-law?
No, I've laughed at a joke about it, and then you continually bring it up, and then we just talk about the joke that was made.
So you didn't say anything about his mother-in-law. Other than
I keep asking you,
you repeated a joke about his mother-in-law.
It was a joke that happened on this show. Yeah, and then the next day you came to me mad about it.
You weren't trying to discredit Tariq Nasheed.
I didn't make the joke to discredit him. But like, you're mad at me for laughing at a joke when another person said it. So I've also heard people say that they're not even mad if that joke would be made. I've heard like other things. Like, I just think it's a funny joke. I don't care about it.
So you weren't trying to discredit him.
You said what?
You were not trying to discredit him last week. You were.
No, all right. So
what you said about him was glowing.
I can give you what I said. Okay, and if that's what you would like. Like, you keep trying to like say I said something that I didn't. I could just tell you what I said.
Please.
So the show was about a critique not of new black media, but of like pro-black media in general. So I think even the thumbnail had from a Roland Martin to a Umar to a Tariq to a 19 key. Like, it was just the whole entire gambit of pro-black media. Where my critique that I offered in general, my overscaping critique, is that I think that people that have amassed a large following and speak towards the progression of Black people should have tangible solutions that they are pushing people towards to I think that that's what they should have. If they don't have that, then I think that to an extent it constitutes a hustle. That's what I said. And we kind of talked about a bunch of different people. I think that if I don't know if like you're asking me last week what critique I might have had about Tariq. I can go into that too,
Sunday,
but
yeah.
but Sunday,
let's start
I would
first.
love for you to tell me what I said outside of that.
I would prefer if you say what you said because we have some people.
Well, I just told you what I said.
No, but I'm
The
saying
clips is online. If anybody would love to go back and look at it. I think that I had critique of the FBA movement when it came down to having like fleshed out strategic goals of how to get things before and after. I think I talked to somebody. They gave me more steps than I had heard from anybody else, and I was like, okay, that's cool. I'll kind of leave that alone. If that's what you have, I can't say that you don't believe that there's like more plans than just this one step, and that's cool. But yeah, like that's my critique of what I've seen of the FBA movement, where it was, have you actually did the things to start lining up legislation XYZ? You said that there's a plan that y'all have in place. I'll continue asking other FBA people if that's kind of like the plan that they understand and know. And if it is, that thing that's fire. I don't think that there's an issue with the plan, and I think that's good. My critique was not of Tariq or the FBA. Again, the episode is up. I'd love for everybody to go look at it. On the episode, multiple times I redirected away from Tariq because I said I actually don't want this to be just about Tariq. This isn't a critique of him. And then again, like we kind of like spent about 25 to 30 minutes. I think we was talking to 19 Keys. We kind of went down a line of a couple different people. Like,
is Keys a grifter?
I think it just depends on what you look at as pro-Black.
Do you think Keys is a Black advocate, Trey?
Yeah, I think he's a net positive. I think a lot of the topics he talks about are topics that are important, and I'm thankful that we finally have people platform who are able to focus on these topics versus what we kind of had, what I had growing up, which is basically just what was on TV and documentaries, and and then they give me a lot of information. I take notes, and then they give me the sources. I'm able to go look that up. And I think that's very good for our collective self-esteem when you have people who are knowledgeable and who can share little known information. So, yeah, if he makes some money, I want him to make money. Honestly, I want him to make more money. I want him to make more money than Tucker Carlson and Murdoch or all that. For sure,
I agree with that. I think that he's like I don't look at him as either. I think that he's kind of entertaining. That's kind of like the best way I could put it. I think like he platforms a lot of different ideas, and to me, I think that they kind of go super duper woke. Like when you get into like the Anunnaki, the chakras, and like all this stuff. I'm not specifically that interested inside 3-hour conversations about chakras, but for whoever enjoys it, I think that that's fire. I don't think that he's a negative impact. Yeah.
So I've even heard Tariq Nasheed recently say that he's willing to work with Umar Johnson again. If anything, he gave Umar Johnson a lot of shine. The documents and everything like that. So if even he, like you can talk about him, but even he is not taking shots at other Black people, especially on public platforms, especially Black people who are on code.
Are you talking about right now, or he just hasn't taken shots?
No, I'm talking about the new Black media. If there's another Black person that has a pro-Black American agenda, I don't see them take shots at each other publicly, because I think that's exactly what a dominant society wants us to do. So if there's a Black person and their heart is in the right place, they're doing good things, they're talking about news from a Black perspective, then why just live and let live? Like, what's the point in putting rhetoric out there that undermines their credibility? Like, we got COINTELPRO for that. Like, why would we do that for free?
Gotcha. I agree. I think that's like one of those things that I think would be fire if we all did this across the board. Like when we like hold that stance and then we say dilapidated bandos and like you run down like this person is clownish to somebody that is a black advocate. I think that in itself kind of like shows, like a bit of hypocrisy of what you're saying. But
I not walk that
I think
back and say I
that's
was just joking.
okay. My bad. Then
Immediately,
if not, like so. No, it wasn't
You still
immediately. I think that G kind of spoke about it and then you kind of walked it back. But it laid out there for a while. It was referenced like 2 to 3 times afterward. But again, like I said, I think that's fire if consistency is like what is actually happening.
Okay, if you see me talking bad about a person who is pro foundational Black American and Black empowerment and who is on code, then definitely call me out. But I try to not do that because I think there's enough.
So if you're talking bad about somebody that specifically agrees with everything you agree with,
bro, if it's a person like Umar Johnson who's getting on the stage talking about how Black men have all these STDs, no, bro, I don't think that they are a person that fits the criteria of positive Black voices for foundational Black Americans. No.
So then you're going to get on the on this internet and trash a Black advocate,
bro. If he's over there trashing Black men,
gotcha,
then he's not an advocate.
Okay,
is that not fair?
Again, like that's your opinion.
I mean,
I ain't trying to argue with it.
Talking about we have all these STDs, but you're saying I shouldn't say nothing negative about that, and that's comparable to me.
No, I'm just saying like if you're taking a stance, just keep the stance. That's all I'm saying. Like if you're against talking about Black, right? if you're talking about not talking down on Black advocates, who in which like I guess 2 out of the 3 people here believe that he's a Black advocate. All I'm saying is let's just keep the same energy across the board. So even if you disagree with something, so what you're asking me and it seems like us to do is that if we have a critique of something, don't talk about it if they are a Black advocate. So, I think that would be fire if we all exercise that. If not, then it comes off hypocritical. That's my only point.
Well, one, even Black advocates, I would say they're not above critique.
Gotcha. Yeah, I like that.
At the same time, I don't know if it's comparable to if Tariq Nasheed got on his broadcast and started talking about how Black men have all these STDs.
But
I wouldn't defend that either.
Is it fair to say though that was like a very like specific clip from a longer I don't even know the context of how he got to talking about STDs and sex? Like, aren't you like harping on a very like
can we play the clip, bro?
And marginalizing like everything else that he's done
like,
across
I don't
the
know
board.
what else he was talking about in that conversation, but I just feel like that can't be all he talks about. I've never heard him like condemn Black men as a like you're mentioning this one clip, but I wouldn't classify him as somebody who talks down on Black men. You think he does that regularly?
Yeah, but can we play the clip, bro? Because I think some things are like once you cross the line, I'm not really on this like forgiveness. And
so we should be policing Black thought, is your opinion?
Off code behavior, yes, because otherwise, why would I have smoke for tethers? Because my whole problem with them is that we wish that their group would call them out. So if I can't call out FBAs who are off code, then I'm a hypocrite for getting on them tethers because people in their community don't call them out as much as I'd like. And when I see Umar on stage attacking Black men's reputation, like in a way that's very widespread and sweeping generalizations, as if we're doing all these things to Black women, I think he is adding fuel to the gender war with his rhetoric because he is pandering to these women rather than giving them the truth and making a boogeyman out of Black men. So I don't think that is something that should go unchecked. You shouldn't be allowed to safely get on, go talk to Black women
because he says Black men should be with Black women. Ultimately,
no, it's not. No. It's because he's saying that we have all these STDs and how we do all these bad things to Black women and how we go and leave them pregnant and we do all these other things. He's just bashing Black men.
Does he say that?
Bro, he just said that in the clip. I sent you.
But I'm saying
he's
he's also like clearly saying it with an entertaining, jokingly tone too, right? Like it's not like he's having a serious conversation.
If he was a white man,
right.
would it be okay?
Hey, fellas, I think that let's kind of pin this really quickly. We're gonna get right back to it. I think that we did want to hit two things that are inside mainstream media. I'm gonna throw the trade for one. I'm gonna throw the G to the other. Both of them are examples of vigilante justice. Some people are arguing going right and going wrong, just kind of depending. We'll start with the United Healthcare shooting. Over the last week since we had our last Unpacked, there was the killing of the United Healthcare CEO inside New York, in which there was then a 5-day manhunt for the killer. There's been a lot of different opinions online. This is an example of vigilante justice. I love to toss to G. I think that you kind of had some questions for us to get into off of that.
Yeah, I mean, like, chat, is this dude Luigi Mangione? Chat, y'all gotta let us know. Is this dude a real American hero, or did he really, or is he just a stone cold murderer? Like, which one do y'all think? Is this guy somebody we should be celebrating, or is this type of behavior completely unacceptable? I'd be curious to hear from the chat on this one. Me personally, bro, like, it's crazy. This was in Midtown Manhattan. This is New York City. My man walked up on a CEO of a major company in the middle of the early morning and shot him right on the sidewalk. I just think that, and then everything that played out from there with the
imagine getting caught in McDonald's eating hash browns. That's crazy. But keep going.
Imagine growing a unibrow. Imagine growing a unibrow in like 3 days.
Yeah. Getting caught and having you didn't get rid of the gun. You didn't like you got caught with everything on you. You got your manifesto on you. You got all this stuff on you, and you're saying you're not guilty. Like it's a real life movie, like real talk. He's saying he didn't even do it, but yet it's suggesting that there's a lot of evidence that he did. But now
I think they said he had $8,000 in cash on him. He had he had the multiple IDs. He had the passport. He had the gun and the silencer. I don't know. It's interesting. I think that this is almost a lesson. Stay out of the poor whites towns in Pennsylvania. Them boys called the feds on this man with a mask on in McDonald's. Imagine that. If you'd have just went to Philly, I think you'd have been all right. Went out there by the bodega, got a little Philly cheesesteak. You'd have blended in with a couple of them out there.
Yeah. Mad Italians in Philadelphia. Mad
Italians. I think that. Do I think that it's a case, or is he to be celebrated? No, I don't think that he's to be celebrated, but I think that his voice, what he did reverberated with a lot of people because of shit. Right now, there's open enrollment. We all know what them insurance rates is hitting you for. And them niggas is like, they up in, they up in when the out of pocket comes in at, the deductibles is higher now. The co-pays is higher. They're reporting, record highs in profit. Yeah. And I think that he was, to a lot of people, quote unquote, the Robin Hood, where like he's just a sign of like, hey, it gets to a point where you fuck with the American people enough, there has to be some version of a consequence that comes with it, whether that's just or unjust. I think that because of so many people, and especially like United Healthcare in itself, I think that what do they have, like a 30% denial rate for a lot of like life-saving, changing surgeries and things like that. A lot of people just feel it because they've went through that struggle. They've had that mother that might have had cancer. They've needed to get that surgery that they couldn't get to where like it could have helped them dramatically with XYZ, right? So like it's like this. To me, it's almost like weighed inside two different hands. To me, is he right? No, but do people feel vindicated? Yes. I can't hear you.
It's been interesting to see some of the reactions on social media. Like, I just feel like I can't wait to see how it plays out because I don't want to assume I know why it was done. I really would like to hear why this specific CEO of this company was attacked. Were there plans to get others? Was there anything else in the works? Like, what is he hoping to get out of, doing that? Like, I really would like to kind of hear more about that piece of it, just because I feel like our health system is so fucked up overall. To narrow in on this particular CEO is the thing that just like that's the
and I
part
guess
for me.
I think you said one thing, and I've heard another narrative as well, where one of them, maybe that IG that he has like a picture or X-ray of like some back neck thing.
Like he has a back surgery or a back procedure.
Yeah. And I guess maybe he didn't get properly insured for it, XYZ.
Like,
but I think
he
didn't you also
sex.
say that his family, or maybe it was you or somebody else, that his family owned like some private health facilities or something like that?
His family is a wealthy, multi-million-dollar family in the state of Maryland. They own several healthcare facilities that house, I think, what we would consider like elderly people, assisted living type joints. And they have, and this dude, the son, Luigi, is part owner. It's like it's a family-owned business, and it's split in different percentages, and he owns a percentage of those companies. There's also another rumor that his mom had some crazy debilitating disease, and allegedly United Healthcare prevented her from getting what she needed, allegedly. But like, if that's what it is, I'd like to hear that's what it is to, like, make more sense of what's going on.
Yeah. And something that I've inside like just this past week, just looking up some of just like the United Healthcare shit and all that, to where what I did learn just through looking at things was that United Healthcare actually kind of like fucks everybody. Like, it's to a point where now the doctors also are getting shitted. I think United Healthcare, like they almost have a they have an actual side business where they do payday loans, because it's something dealing with the insurance to where how they're processing shit, it holds up something dealing with the doctor's pay. I can't like properly articulate it, but I was watching something where right now one of the bigger people that are taking out payday loans are doctors, but it deals with the healthcare insurance industry. And the fact that they then invested in United Healthcare specifically, their own version of a payday loan service, is crazy to me. And it means like they eating on both sides of it. Like the doctors that's saving people and the people that need saving, both of them are getting shitted by the actual healthcare company. Not healthcare, the health insurance company.
Yep. That's my kind of, it's like the way that stuff is just set up, from how much healthcare costs to how insurance is this middleman and how it's all privatized, is what's crazy. Like that's what makes like America somewhat just like this crazy place relative to other, G7 type nations, is all of this stuff is privatized for people to capitalize. Like, it's true capitalism at its like richest form, literally richest form. So the fact that we allow healthcare for a whole nation, the wealthiest nation, to just, be left up to who can afford it, I think is crazy. And then the fact that they allow these things to cost certain prices, that even folks who seemingly have resources, some of these procedures, man, depending on your medical condition, like it's you go bankrupt. Like, there's no way you can afford to do it even with insurance, because insurance will say it costs too much to insure it. So it's like it's a crazy system overall, man. It's really fucked up.
Yeah, Trey.
Man, I think nobody feels bad for this, and this kind of reminds me of people like to root for the underdog, and at a 30% denial rate, there's no telling how many people were affected. And if a person is enriching themselves by denying other people life-saving procedures, then who's the real killer? Like, he took out one person. This guy took out who knows how many people, and he's rich off of it. So I think sometimes it's good for people to understand that the people whose lives they affect aren't just like some meaningless names and numbers on the list. Like there can be a reaction from that. And because I think G, you were like, well, would you do it? Nah, I wouldn't do it. But there's a lot of things that I wouldn't do, but I root for people who do it, but plenty of times. So I can't say that. Man, I'm kind of torn, bro, because I just can't feel like sympathy for a person that is the face of a company that we can agree that this practice is pretty evil, right?
But yeah, we can agree that insurance business is evil, health insurance business is evil. But my thing is like when these like United Healthcare is a multi-billion-dollar revenue a year company. I don't know how many employees, tens of thousands. It is a huge enterprise, and it's not one person making these decisions as to like how this denial process goes. It's incentivized at all layers of the organization. So it's like I don't even necessarily know for sure that this is like a quote unquote top down initiative. This is an executive, like a board of executives or a level of executives from the CEO to the revenue officer, to the marketing officer, to like all the different executives at the table are coming up with these policies for the business. And it's not like the CEO oftentimes is like, I don't want to say they get, the CEO is oftentimes the CEO because of how they communicate with everybody else in the room. That's what makes them the CEO. It's not so much that they're the one making the decision. They're the smartest one in the room. They are oftentimes the best communicator and can relate to all the different groups and bring it together. I just said to say, going after this one person for what United Healthcare did, I think is just misplaced. It's misplaced.
I would agree that he is not the only one responsible for these evil decisions that affect all these people. But I think when you agree to become the face of that organization and you put yourself out there, kind of like there's a lot of people that echo like a lot of the sentiments I had as pro FBA stuff. But when you put your face out there behind it, you kind of open yourself. Like we even had, some people we know that, saying they put their face behind some stuff, and then, people, saying, and then people came in and reacted to that. So when you're the face of something that is this, that affects this many people negatively, then that you just might be the person that gets the blame for the outcome. And I think he understands that CEO didn't single-handedly make these decisions, but that was the guy that was the face of it. So it was like, I think it was about making a statement, and I think that statement was heard. That's why a lot of people are supporting it.
Yeah, he made a statement. He did that.
And if he had just took out a board member, then there wouldn't have been the same.
But see, I'm just, I guess for me, do you believe in a death penalty?
Yeah, I do. I mean, it depends if a person is
not just do you believe in a death penalty? So you do believe
if a person is for sure guilty. But the only problem is like they have so many black people that are exonerated because they weren't guilty. It's hard for me to say. I don't know if I believe in the way it's constructed in America, but I do think if you do something and like
so you believe in it.
Yeah, if you harm a child and we know for sure you did it, then yeah, for sure.
So yeah, see, I don't believe in the death penalty under any circumstances. So
no matter what you did.
Yeah, I don't believe in the death penalty. I don't believe death as a penalty for crime makes sense to me personally. It's not something I'm pro for, regardless of the crime. That's just not something I'm for. So if this guy committed such and such crime, like I said, I just feel like it's misplaced. Like you said, if in fact you did something, you deserve to die. Like I can understand that philosophy, but then taking this sort of approach and like making your own rationale for who you're going to kill and when in the name of quote unquote justice, this maybe might take us to the other thing in the news, but it's like, I don't think that's right either. You feel what I'm saying? It's just like, I just don't think people should have that ability to say, you know what, I don't like this. Let me kill somebody to make a statement. I don't agree with that.
Gotcha. And so Trey, I'll throw to you, kind of go into it. I guess G kind of set up a segue for the Daniel Penny trial, where again, like this will be a different version of what some have said, quote unquote, vigilantism. where you have a retired Marine, I think it maybe is, in which he administered a chokehold on a black man in a subway car for over 6 minutes and killed him. There's a bunch of different competing narratives that goes down to why and what happened previous to it. I'd rather throw to Trey. I think that it'll give him opportunity to kind of fully unpack the scenario, the situation, speak to the trial, his thoughts, and if you got a question for us, talk to us.
I guess first off, I got a lot of my information about this from New Black Media. I think they were the ones that went out of their way to release his name when the mainstream media wouldn't do it. So I think that's another reason why they're invaluable to Black Americans. And that's why I'm so appreciative of that, because with just mainstream media, we wouldn't have this information. So that's why when you won't say I get emotional, but I get defensive when people disparage the folks who are actually breaking news from our perspective and giving us the information that we wouldn't have on a large scale if not for the New Black Media. And I think that's why we should be very careful with criticizing people who do good for us, unless if we catch them doing something like, tricking off the money in the strip club or something like that, then that's cool. We can talk about them, but just like anyway, I think you get the point. What I'm saying, like. I got a lot.
You just said that we could critique Black advocates also a second ago. Let's say we're gonna circle back to that conversation anyway. I think like there is a major case that happened in the news that if our audience is not familiar with, where again I've heard some people call the white Marine a white supremacist, suspected white supremacist. The trial and how it ended up being unjust, that the guy that was killed whether it was implicit or intentional bias because he was black. There's a lot of competing different narratives. I think that from what you have consumed from New Black Media, I'd love for you to speak about that. Okay.
Well, first off, the guy, he was like a Michael Jackson impersonator. He might have had some background stuff, but he was special needs. And he was like a frail guy, and he was talking about how he was hungry on the train, and he was unarmed, and Daniel Penny snuck up behind him and strangled him until he died. And even after the people,
and I guess this will be the only thing that I will interject. You can you're more researched on it than me, so I just give you a chance to combat the narrative that I think, what is his name, Piers Morgan, mainstream media. So again, if we're anti-mainstream media, this is a chance to dispel that the statement that I've heard them run with, where they said that the black guy was threatening to kill other people on the train or something like that. And this was supposed to be a restraining move or something like that. So I love for you to speak to that, because that would be like the rebuttal that somebody in the comments that follows one of them would probably say. So use the platform to speak to it.
And more specifically, what Q's talking about, from what I saw, he was saying that he was, quote unquote, not afraid to go to jail and was ready to die. This is allegedly what he was saying in threatening ways to people on the train. Now, I hadn't heard any confirmation that dude was special needs. Is that a factual?
I think they said that he had mental health. I think how you use special needs is typically used a different way, but dealing with mental health issues is what kind of is the issue.
Okay. Yeah, he was special needs. You don't hear them talk about that much, of course, because they talk about how Daniel Penny was.
Do you agree? It's like by saying special needs, it implies something. I guess so. I work with special needs kids.
Yeah,
where that typically implies something way different.
Yeah.
He was in and out of some care program.
Okay. And so maybe he is. Maybe he did have like a one of those diagnoses. But yeah, go ahead.
I think he had caretakers, and his family, like the system kind of failed him, because ideally you wouldn't be out in the streets if you're special needs, especially we have all this money for overseas and migrants and things like that. So he was a frail special needs guy who they didn't have to kill him in order to restrain him. And I think a Marine knows like when a person is incapacitated, like once they stop moving. Another thing, there were some non-FBA black people that were helping hold them down too. If you saw that, and I know that you don't like to specify if
Well,
a
what I see,
person is
I
FBA
guess
or not.
I seen 2 white people around him. The little video that I seen, I can go back
I
and
saw
look.
them too, but there were also black people there. Did you see the people?
Did
Not
those
black
other people
but
get
people.
charged at all for as like
No,
accomplice or anything?
no, not that I know of.
Mm.
Because yeah. So but there were, because a lot of people like to say that it wasn't a white thing because there were black people there too, but those black people were they were non-FBA. So basically, to get back to the point, so he was on the train. There's no evidence that he made like if he said things, if he was making threats, but he didn't act on those threats, he didn't touch anybody, he didn't lunge at anybody, and he was unarmed. Like
He was allegedly throwing trash on people.
he was throwing trash on people. Okay,
Allegedly.
is that a threat to
It's,
anyone's life?
it's an assault.
But does that warrant?
Yeah, from what I can share the screen. Look like it's just 3. It's from what I see, it's 3 white people holding them down.
Like I agree, nobody deserved to die.
Yeah, not at all. I don't think
Like,
they deserve to die.
I think we all on the same page. Like nobody deserved to die, but like I think there is like some like if you on a subway in New York City and a person is on the subway talking about what he say, he said, I'm ready to die. He said, I'm ready to die and I'm not afraid of going to jail, and you're like throwing things at people. If that is true, what do you think a citizen should be doing to somebody? You think you should just let them keep doing it and like say just like mind your business, so to speak, because it's not messing with you? Or do you proactively kind of step up to say like, no, this ain't, you just need to stay over there, homeboy? Like I'm just curious, like what is an appropriate response there? Because I think we all agree homeboy went too far, but if those things are true, like what would be deemed something appropriate in your opinion?
I think until a person is showing like lethal threat, you aren't able to react to that threat with lethal threat, right?
No, if somebody's assaulting you, like throwing trash at me you're assaulting me.
But
I can defend myself from assaults. I don't have to wait till my life is threatened to do self-defense. I don't think.
But what if?
Hey Trey, how old is the Daniel Penny? Not Daniel Penny, but the black man that passed.
I'm
Do you
not
know?
sure. I have
Okay.
it. I have it up right here. Jordan Neely, age. He is
30.
30. Yeah.
Okay.
So even if he was like throwing trash on people, I don't know if we really want a precedent to where a person that's throwing trash on people and their special needs, we're able to run up behind them and strangle them to death.
That's what I'm asking. What do you think is an appropriate intervention? Is my question. If that's the case, like just let them be, act like just don't touch them. Like what do you think? Because if that's true, that is not a comfortable cart, say, or subway cart to be in. If that's really what's going on, allegedly, I'm just saying hypothetically.
I get that. I don't know if I think if he's attacking someone, that person can react to that. I get that, but I don't know if another person should sneak up behind them and deal with it that way. I think if he is posing a physical threat, that would warrant someone sneak up behind him, most definitely. But I think there are a lot of special needs people in New York that act the fool like that. So I don't see, man. I don't know the appropriate reaction to that. I think if somebody's doing something to a female or something, and you want to, protect that person that may not be able to protect themselves, I could kind of see that. But even still, like to choke them to death is, I'm not really sure the place in between, but I just know that it's nowhere near the level of where you should strangle them, man. What do you think that the appropriate response should be?
I mean, that's what I think there's, like I said, I think there's a way to restrain without cutting off somebody's oxygen. You feel what I'm saying? Like I feel like if he was really, if it was really that serious where intervention was required and multiple people is now look, if it's one-on-one and it's just me and it's like I'm just trying my best to make sure I don't get fucked up, I can see how you might end up resulting in like somebody getting choked out because it's like survival, me versus you. But it's other stakeholders in there holding on to. Y'all could have restrained this gentleman, in my opinion, without having to, air him out like that. That would be my opinion. You can restrain without choking.
The Alabama brawl, if one of those guys who was racially targeting the co-captain, if one of the brothers that was defending them had snuck up and choked that person to death, do you think that they would have gotten the same treatment as Daniel Penny, where they were acquitted?
If white boys choked somebody?
No, if one of the brothers who was defending the co-captain, if
a dude swam across the joint, got out the ocean or got out the water, hopped on the pier, and then just choked somebody out, he'd be going to jail. They'd be like, motive, intent. He swam across. He's done for.
Yeah. So what you're asking, in essence, is this a case of white privilege? Correct.
Right. That's why when we talk about this issue, I don't even know if talking about what the appropriate tactic should have been to stop it should be the focus. I think the focus should be how what happened to him and Daniel Penny getting off is white supremacy. You know what I mean? Because we kind of, it's like a slippery slope into like sounding like you're not. I know you're not, because you said multiple times that you aren't, but we don't want to like make it seem like any of this is being like, justified. You feel me?
No, it's not. It's not justified. It's not justified at all. Like, he should have been found guilty of manslaughter, like at a minimum. Whatever. I don't know what he was officially charged with. Like, I think maybe it's not murder, but he should have been. It's like you end up killing somebody because you driving a car. Like, you're gonna get charged with manslaughter. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah. And I guess to
what's up?
I think to the question you just asked, I think the proper way to get to the end goal, and this is why I preferred you to actually talk through it, is that instead of just saying it's white supremacy or it's white privilege, explain how all these things are wrong, and then you're deduced to white privilege, and which I think that's kind of where we kind of seem to kind of have ended at, where we actually unpacked the entire conversation. I personally think that you're confused at what I said.
You said you wanted to do what?
I think that if we just come on here and just say it was white privilege and a white supremacist without explaining exactly what happened and the nuances to it, and how like it still leaves to the point that he should have been charged, there's a lot of gray area that a lot of people will end up being like, because of X, Y, and Z, he could have been. But I think that we did a good job of actually talking through the entire what happened and still resolving at the part that if it was black, he more than likely would have been charged. If he was white, which he was, he got acquitted. Yeah,
because the jury, if the original charges, the jury took a while to deliberate that. So then the judge reduced the charges to something else that was easier for them to dismiss, and then that's what happened. I got that from Professor Black Truth when he broke that down with some of the some of the reporting. He explained that. So
shout out to your algorithm. I dig
it. My algorithm, bro. I mean, damn, bro.
But
it's why not shout out to shout out to Professor Black Truth for giving me.
Oh, my bad. Do you want me to say shout out to Professor Black Truth,
bro? Because you're talking
and
about
the new medias.
I mean, I feel you, man. It just seems
when you go up and props up on your YouTube, it would be your algorithm. Do you want me to say the person's name? Is Professor Black Truth? Shout out to him for the information that you gave Trey on his reporting of Daniel Penny. Is that good? Shout out to Trey for subscribing to Professor Black Truth.
No, I think it would be cool if people that do a service to us, if we don't like try to make it like do little slights talking about shout out to your algorithm as if it's like some echo chamber. That's
I didn't do any of that. To you, like that's how you felt about it. But yeah,
I got you. Well, shout out to your algorithm. What did Candace Owens say?
Talking about your twin. Shout out to your twin.
Oh, yeah, okay. Because Candace Owens would definitely come on here and say the same stuff I'm saying.
I don't think that Candace Owens is on my algorithm. I can't tell you what Candace Owens recently said.
The same things on here, right? Because she's always talking about white supremacy, right? She downplays the slave trade. She says we don't need no reparations. But
what does that have to do with me? I don't
because
know.
you said
those aren't like things that I've never talked about.
She's against reparations. You're saying you're trolling.
I could probably list a bunch of things that y'all do agree with, but yeah, that's for another episode.
But she's my twin though, right? But she's against reparations.
She's on my algorithm, right? Because I watch it. No, she's not. Damn. Well, isn't that crazy how we just did the same thing?
Well, one of y'all keeps sending me videos and telling me that I should.
I didn't send you not one Candace Owens video. Why do you keep like putting me into like everybody? I get so confused at that. This is so crazy.
That was G. I get confused sometimes.
It was a Nick Cannon. I think it was a Nick Cannon episode, and she happened to pop up on there. Yeah,
y'all kind of teamed up. G sent me a video featuring Candace Owens, and you told me that's my twin. And then you know how I feel about her downplaying slavery and working for Ben Shapiro and getting paid to talk bad about black people. And you know how she's anti-black and everything like that. But and you know how I come on here and talk about pro-black talking points. But in order to troll, you talk bad about Tariq Nasheed, and you also talk to compare me to Candace Owens because this is such a serious show, bro. I feel you.
Got you. You make a lot of serious points as well. I dig it, my brother.
I think so, bro. Yeah, and especially. I think I agree with your opinions way more when you're talking about like
the emotional meter is starting to run. What else you gonna say? You gonna say shut up and dribble? Come on, bring it to me.
I feel when you talk about sports and entertainment, I feel like
what's my best sport take? What's your favorite sport take that I give?
No, I heard some of the
stuff. Or are you just saying shit? All right.
No, I heard about some of the stuff you're talking about, breaking down coaching strategy. You're very knowledgeable when it comes to sports, like different defenses and stuff like that. I think you're way more knowledgeable about sports than you are about like white supremacy.
How knowledgeable are you about like actually going off the internet and doing real tangible things in the community? Oh, you did that? Holy shit! My bad. You're an internet person. You just talk Black Power on the internet. All right, let's go ahead and move on to a different topic. I got you. Is that what we're doing? Damn, is this a nigga that is a silver spoon activist that has never did anything that actually touched grass? Like you haven't mentored no kids. You ain't actually like did any volunteer work in the community. Damn, is that who's talking right now? My bad.
I've never.
You said that I need to stick to coaching where I actually like work with black boys and give them life principles. I pick kids up from multiple different dilapidated places that you say and like actually mentor them. Damn, that's crazy. That's such a crazy thing. Like the thing you're insulting me about is like a part of some community outreach that I do. That's interesting.
It's more of a critique than an insult because we can go on because I know.
But I would love to know what have you done outside of the internet?
Outside the internet, I mean, I contribute to the cause when I see black people doing.
So silver spoon activism. That sounds like the black bourgeoisie.
I guess of contributing.
Damn, I get. Never mind. I ain't gonna go.
Yeah, we next topic.
yeah. I guess contributing. Black. I guess contributing to pro-black causes is silver spoon.
Man, that sounds like a limousine liberal to me.
I feel you.
Like just toss a little money to some shit that like that's what's up. Not actually go out into like the neighborhoods where these kids is at. Not actually mentor a kid that got a single mom and is dealing with the actual real oppression of the system at like ground level.
That's good, bro.
Not actually like have real conversations with them about what manhood is.
Oh, well, keep patting yourself.
I'm asking you what you do outside of like troll what you call tethers on the internet. And listen to like new black media. Like, do you do any real things? Like, where do you go out in the community? So you just an internet troll,
bro. But
you don't help no black men. What's the young black boys that you help?
I got.
God damn! Is this the nigga that? Okay, my bad. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I mean, but you talk about people who do those exact same things while you pat yourself on the back for doing less. So
Gotcha.
I can't point that out because you don't think that the treat and shit you criticize him. You don't think he does things to help everything you just said you did and more on a higher level, but you got smoke for him. I mean, you got critique for him. So you're patting yourself on the back for doing a small portion of what other people do. You get online and critique, and also you say things like
somehow it seems to be a little, just a little bit more than what you do. And again, like I said, my critique is just saying, hey, is there a fleshed out plan? If that's my critique, then I'll take the fact that I'm critiquing movements. That's cool.
Yeah, because
I'm cool critiquing movements there. I'm just worried about the people that are on the internet, like on this whole internet, that are criticizing, saying that our black activists are putting together what ran down bandos, but also have never went to any of those communities and helped any of them kids.
I got you. We're gonna say that.
Oh damn!
Back as a joke like 10 times, bro. Like you just keep.
No, I'm just saying, like, but no jokes aside, have you helped out any of them kids? Have you done anything in your community, or are you just silver spoon activism that's never did anything actually for the black community that needs help?
I mean, I've helped some other young black engineers at work. You know, I've talked to some people. I've went and.
Or is this the guy that spends all of his off weekends around white people in the tethers that he critiques?
Spend white people.
Oh, my bad. Damn.
I'm friends with the people, but
okay, got you.
Look. If you want to get on here,
I think we should go to another topic. This is like playing the moral police when you've done nothing in the community is not like the best space to be at when we're talking about black advocacy.
Okay, I got you. So if you do things for black people, but you also undermine other people that do things for black people, I shouldn't say anything unless I do more than you. I got you.
No, I'm just saying.
No, fat boy.
Yeah, my bad. We're having an after show thing. I just think that throwing a rock hot in your hand when you've done nothing is just an interesting concept.
I got you, bro. We're not victims of white supremacy, as you like to say.
Y'all seeing how
I've never said that one time. I would love for you to point to me.
You said we're not
ever saying that we're not victims of white supremacy.
You said you weren't a victim.
Sound like y'all trying to police each other's thoughts.
That's what it sounds like. AG, get us into the topic. Let's talk about it.
Crazy, bro. You say things in the chat. You get on the show. You don't stand by none of the shit you say in the chat.
No, I can run. Like I've had episodes about every single opinion that I have. We want to talk about like, do I current day identify as a victim? That's a completely different conversation. If we're talking about like, has the black community been victimized by white supremacy? Does that continue to this day? Yes, definitely, for sure.
So you are
like,
saying
look, this is why like Unpacked is a space for nuanced black intellectual thought. Not just innuendo, shame. Like what's his name? Kevin Samuel say. Not just shame, insults, guilt. They need to be right. Sign language of sorts.
I mean, you just contradicted yourself, bro. Because you said that you never said that we aren't victims. Then you proceeded to say, well, I'm not a victim because we have been victimized, but I'm not a victim. So are you saying you're a victim?
I personally do not identify as a victim of white supremacy currently, right? I think that we are inside situations. There are systems in place that especially people that are unknowledgeable of what the actual system is are victimized by that system.
Let me ask this, because that was part of what we was talking about. Policing black thought are the things we should all agree on. Is this idea that we are all victims of white supremacy something that all black people should agree on? Like, do you feel like that's something that everybody should be on the same page? All black people are currently victims of white supremacy.
Damn, great segue, G. Bringing us back to the topic. But yeah, I think that in order to deal with the issue, the first step is to recognize and accept that the issue is what it is. So if we can't all agree that the issue is present, then how can we organize efforts to address it?
Okay. So for people who don't feel that way, like what's the detriment in that?
Well, I think the best thing is to keep that opinion like to yourself, because that's when we talk about, you can have a black thought, but when you vocalize those thoughts and it undermines the agenda, because if we're trying to get reparations, because we've been victimized by white supremacy. And then you get on here and say that I'm not a victim, then why do we need any money? We're not victims, right? We're victims of our own making, because if we could just understand and do better, then we wouldn't be victims based on, it sounds like what you're saying. Maybe I'm misunderstanding. So if we can't understand that we've all been victimized and we're all currently victims, because imagine what we would be if not for what has happened to us. Then if we can't all agree that that's the case, then what are we even fighting for? So that's when Black thought becomes something that becomes like a detriment and undermines the overall agenda. Because one person's fighting for white supremacy, fighting for reparations, the other one's saying that we're not even victims. So what's the point? Like someone on the other side will take your voice and probably do the same way in that Charlemagne the God commercial, where they were talking about, they used his own voice against the person that he was fighting for. And I think like Candace Owens is another example. That's why I'm so hard on her, because she does documentary talking about how slavery was all over the world and we weren't special, and there are things that things are exaggerated and saying things are embellished. That's why I don't think that that's something that should be taken lightly, because it's undermining the overall objective, which is Black empowerment through restorative justice.
Gotcha. Yeah, I guess so no, Kofi, I'm not saying that I've never been victimized by different versions of white supremacy. For sure. Again, I'm not saying that white supremacy doesn't exist. That's not what I'm saying either. White supremacy definitely does exist. I think that in whole, if we're just talking about like the whole gambit of Black people, yes, white supremacy does victimize the Black community, for sure. I also do come from a do for self mentality, where generally speaking, I believe that I hold the autonomy to do for self for myself. So I don't walk around with a victim mentality to say that I can't do something because of white people are holding me back. I'm gonna get it done regardless. Again, like that is a bit of my root from whether we want to talk about the Nation of Islam, where one of the biggest slogans are do for self. But that's my personal belief. That is not to dispel the idea that white supremacy exists. There are victims of it. And I think that especially the most unknowledgeable are the victims of it. This is where we can go into, again, if we want to get super woke, the poor righteous teachers, where you have 85 is deaf, dumb, and blind. We have 10% that have knowledge, and you have the 5%ers, in which like you have information and you understand how to maneuver and what to do with it, and you try and enlighten as many people as possible. That's where I'll go with it.
But there you realize there's some things that are beyond your control, even if you want to do it for self. Like you can't control how you're dealt with the court systems when it comes to loans. If you try to sell your house and they give you a lower appraisal, like as much as we like to do for self, there are things that you could like you can't.
Right. If I am selling my house and they give me a lower rate than what's needed, then at that moment I would have been a victim of white supremacy. I'm not going to live in that though, but like that would be an action in which white supremacy has then victimized me.
Well, the fact that you can't do it makes you a victim. Like
I can't do what? I don't even understand.
The fact that if you want,
well, it hasn't happened to me, so I can't give you like that.
But we know it happens. Like there have been several reports on Black people who have gotten lower appraisals on their home. So the fact
I'm not going to live in victimization that hasn't happened to me yet. Like that's all I'm saying. Like I'm not going to walk around with a dark cloud around me saying that I can't do because of whatever you're saying. That again, this is now like a subjective personal opinion. This is like what we're talking about is, do I currently identify as a victim? I choose not to. That's not the way I live my life. If you do, I think that that's great for you. Again, this is not discounting the fact that the Black community, from the overall framework of white supremacy, does get victimized. That's not what I'm saying. I think that white supremacy exists as well. Like there's a clear distinction. You want me to say that I am always a victim of white supremacy, and that's not what I'm saying.
But the black community and the black collective, would you say they're always a victim as a collective under this system? Like we're
You said as like a whole collective. I think if we're talking about majority, yeah.
No, not the majority. As a black person in America under this system, the collective is victimized because we are.
Got you.
Or you're saying we're not oppressed.
I think I made sure that I was clear on not saying that.
Okay,
So I guess like I've ran down my opinion. I don't really think that there's like more clarity I can personally give. I think like you're going to try and attempt to misrepresent what I'm saying, as though you just did.
Yes or no? I asked you a yes or no question.
No, but the misrepresentation was like something I clearly stated like 4 times in me saying it, and was intentional in slowing down the fact that I think that the black community in whole is victimized, especially the fact that white supremacy exists and it exists inside that manner that victimizes black people. I said that a bunch of times.
No, so I also got you because you said that I'm not constantly victimized, but then so I just wanted to make it clear that you think that the black community is constantly victimized, and then you said that not the entire black community, and I was like, yeah, or no, and then you were saying, well, I thought I already said that, so I was like, I just asked for clarification, bro. You don't.
That's not what you said. You said, oh, so you're saying that nobody's oppressed. That's what you just said.
I'm just
like that's what misrepresentation came.
I'm just asking for a clear answer.
Bro. Right. But to get to the fact that I think nobody's oppressed is like, wow. When I'm clearly saying,
I didn't say that. I asked
no, you said, I got you. Tab out. I'll let you go to. I feel like I think I answered it
for you, bro. No,
I said yes. Hey, I said yes. I think that people are oppressed. Like
I can't give you a follow-up question if you don't answer the first question with a clear answer. Like you were kind of evasive, so I just asked you one of the clear yes or no, and then based on that answer, I was going to ask a follow-up question. But since I didn't get a clear yes or no, it just like ruined the whole train of logic. So I mean, if you want to be evasive and not answer a yes or no question like with a yes or no, then I
got you. I said yes. I got you.
So again, that's the follow-up question. I got you, bro.
I didn't even say that you could come on, get out your emotions, man. Like, come on, bro. I mean, if you would love to just debate logic, let's go ahead and do it. I'm not mad or upset. Like you're having like this roller coaster right now. Like, come on, let's get through it.
Look, I'm not mad or upset either, but you know, if you are dismissive of the question and don't answer, it's just like
I answered the question. I said it was a bad representation of my point. We can go back in a circle on that, or you can like ask your follow-up question.
So if the black collective is in a position of victimization under the system of white supremacy, and you are a part of the black collective, then how are you not too a victim of white supremacy if you're part of the collective, which is a victim?
Gotcha. How am I not a part of it? If you're speaking to me inside like the framework of the black collective, I then would say, I guess I am a part of the victimization of black people. I think that from my parents and how they grew up to like the neighborhoods I grew up in, the systems in which I kind of went through, all of those things had remnants of victimization, and pretty much when we talk about socioeconomics and what that kind of leads to inside the school system, the education system, is people around me. I think that there's a case that could be made that there's some places where we can look and see that there has been white supremacy impact to those things. So if you would like to say that I grew up in a space in which there were some places, and as an overall collective of black people and me being a part of that collective, sure. If that's what you'd like to hear.
So if you would agree that we haven't been made whole,
are you trying to get me to just say, hey, I am a current victim?
No, this is one of those things that all black people should agree on, according to Trey. So he do feel like this is something that we got to be on the same page about.
Yeah. So you're like me to say,
that's all. No, I'm just really trying to understand your rationale. I don't want you to say anything that you don't like believe, but I'm just trying to understand your rationale. That's all. Because you would consider me a silver spoon, So, but I think that I am a victim of white supremacy. Why? Because I know where we would be if not for everything that's been done to us. So, based on where we would be until that's been restored, I am a victim, as all Black people who have been affected by these things that have not been made whole. So that's why, if you're in that same situation and you're still affected by white supremacist actions, then I'm just not understanding how you say you're not a victim even though you haven't been made whole.
Gotcha. Yeah, I guess.
I think we gotta separate victim and like there's the word victim,
Victimized.
Yeah, exactly. Like we gotta conjugate the words. Like when we say, are we victims? By
That's
definition of like having been affected or impacted by, another group in some kind of negative way, no question. Do you carry a victim mentality? I think is a different conversation. I think is the differentiation here. So it's like you can acknowledge that we are indeed victims of a marginalized group and a white supremacist, culture, but that doesn't mean that I have to further embrace that reality to limit my opportunities. I can either acknowledge that I'm in a situation where, growing up, you often told, I don't know about your household, but you got to do more, twice as hard. Like you can't keep your hands out your pockets when you're in the store. Like you don't get that loud when you're talking to the police. Like you got to act different. You can't do what other people do. Otherwise it means different consequences for you. So it's like, I think that's a reality. And I do think there is danger in soaking in this idea of I'm a victim, because then it can lead you in a place of stagnation, if not worse, where you start to self-sabotage yourself because you're somewhat hopeless and don't see any way out because you're just a victim. So I think there is room to have like both. Like, are we victims? Sure, but from a mentality standpoint, is that how you carry yourself through life? Do you feel like you're less than when you walk in the room? When you're in a meeting at work, do you feel like you're a victim at the table when you're talking to your peers? You know what I'm saying? Like, is that how you carry yourself in public? Would you agree with that, or would you say that would be incorrect too?
Yeah, I don't think we should walk around hanging our head or look at it as if we've been defeated, if that's what you mean by a victim mentality. And if we need clarification on that, I understand. I can work with what you're saying, but it sounds like a lot of the characteristics of life in America from a Black perspective, even if you're a silver spoon activist, then I think that accepting that role and that position and just like embracing it, that's the real victim mentality, because you know that you don't have the full privileges. You know that you're affected. You know that you have to deal with those other things. And rather than deal with it, you just, kind of just grin and bear it. And I think to point that out constantly, that you're in this situation, and make sure that people don't get accustomed to this position and then do everything we can do to change it. I think that's the opposite of a victim mentality, even if you are recognizing that constantly. Like if you don't accept that you're a victim, then what are you fighting for? You haven't been victimized. It kind of undermines the entire purpose of fighting for justice, because what justice needs to be fought for, your victimization is over. You get the contradiction I'm trying to point out?
I'm trying to understand, like,
until white privilege is gone, and if you have people that have an advantage over you, and you know that, then that's a victimization, because people are getting undue benefits that you don't.
So is this
have
like an
access to.
equity equality conversation that you're having?
I'm not really sure what that means in this context. But I
Got you.
think we could have. I think we should have equal opportunity. And if we don't have equal opportunity, while we're also contributing, equally, as far as taxes, and we've even contributed even more to this country and haven't even been paid for it. So if we don't have equal opportunity after doing all of that, that is a perpetual victimization until we make it right.
And in the in between time of making it right, should you not participate? Should you not try to?
Of course, you should participate and do the best you can under the circumstances, and not let that. Nobody's saying that just because you're a victim, that means to give up. But I think if you don't acknowledge that you're getting beat up, and then that you're fighting against someone who has a weapon and you don't, and you just say, "Well, I can beat them anyway." Yeah, there's some honor in that. But at the same time, the ultimate goal is to remove that disadvantage. And the concern is losing sight of the goal, which is to remove the disadvantage, because we have so much pride that we just want to say, "No, I'm not a victim." But come on, bro, like it's an unfair fight. Like it shouldn't be an unfair fight. That's the goal to fix it, not to get comfortable with an unfair fight and do the best within it. It's to make sure the rules are, you know what I'm saying? We don't want to play a card game when other person's cheating, even though we can win. I feel like we're kind of more equipped. We've been able to endure it. We can fight it. But at the end of the day, we don't want to get comfortable with an unfair card game and then just let that be the status quo and say, "Well, we can handle it." Nah, we shouldn't have to handle it. And while we have to handle it, that means we're being victimized. You get what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, I get that.
And so if we could all recognize the ongoing victimization, then that'll put us more on code in our efforts to join together and fight against it. So
I think we all recognize the ongoing victimization.
But so if the rhetoric, that's the part that's kind of I'm not understanding, because if this is an ongoing victimization, you're part of the collective being victimized. Yeah, you're saying you're not a victim. It's almost like you're saying you're not part of the collective, which I know that's not what you're saying. But like logically, there's an interpretation.
Well, no, I think that like we just have to go through like tenses of words and what words mean. And like again, I understand. Like I don't know where like the good landing space of this argument is, because I think that the reality is that we're arguing semantics, where ideology wise we all are in alignment of exactly what we're talking about. Where there's certain things that you should avoid and certain things that when it comes to like mentally and what the system kind of is, and how you should allow that to not properly, but how you should allow that to impact you as a person. And then an understanding and recognition of what exists and what has existed. So we are all on one accord inside that. The semantic argument just comes down to like, if we want to in present tense be this word, if we want to talk about it being a thing for all people, like it's like this big thing in which that's where the juggling act comes to. But to me, I think that we're in agreement of conceptually what we're speaking about, in which to me that's probably the most important part. Like we can go back and forth and then debate tenses if you want, but I don't know how important it is if we actually just agree on the same thing.
The importance is when we have Black people saying that I'm not a victim, and we have other Black people trying to get compensation for us being victims. We're not all on code, and the people who are.
But this is where you go into like the tense thing right there. Been victim, like it's not really that important. But like I know for me, like I'm not anybody that's going on any platform announcing that, hey, I am not a victim. Well, it's just such a weird like conversation to even be having or making a statement of. Again, like I said, my current my perspective is that with education and understanding of how the world actually works and how America works, how white supremacy works, like you understand what it is, to where like when you understand what the field is, you understand how to avoid obstacles. And like your point is the fact that there's obstacles there, which means that you have to avoid them and other people don't have to. And that's like I get the point. Yeah.
I guess a better way to sum it up is if we have people that are fighting, I already said it. If we have people that are fighting for reparations on account of us being victims, and we have other people who are saying we're not victims at all because of the
I've never put a we on
stuff.
anything.
You say, okay, we have black people saying that they aren't victims, even though they're in the same situation.
They're not. Okay, go ahead.
Then that's an argument against reparations for the collective, because they will say that, well, some of y'all aren't even victims. So that means the past is the past. I'm not saying that that's what you're saying, but I think you're leaving.
But the reparations movement is to my understanding, I thought the reparation movement was about the past, correct? Like from slavery and everything that happened during. Well, no, I don't even think it's like specifically Jim Crow, because y'all usually use like the 1860 census as like a demarcation of if you was here in Black in America from there back. I don't know. Like, so this is new information to me. If you're saying that the movement is of current day Black ills that are happening in America, and not restitution for what has happened from slavery and back.
No, you're right, because it is about what happened then. But the point is that restorative justice has never taken place. So that means I agree. That means that we're still victims of what happened then. So we're present day victims, but that doesn't mean that the reparations is for what's going on present day. It's for what started on back then, because our biggest contribution is that we haven't been compensated for everything that was taken for us and everything that we contributed, and that reverberates into the present day and our current victimization by what started back then. So yes, it started back then, but that doesn't mean the damage ended back then.
Gotcha. And again, I guess like where our POVs end up making like a fork is the fact that, like, I am for reparations. I am for anybody that is fighting for reparations, in which, like, you know, like, I'm gonna just stand over here and like let like that fight go as hard as it can. Like, I understand it. I'm not gonna step on it. And I think that that's fire. I think that for me, my POV on like Black progress and liberation doesn't have to come through the form of reparations. So in order to believe that me, my people, and people around me can actually have progress in America without reparations, it has to be the idea that we can kind of get up and do for self. And whether it's through building like institutions, whether it's like actually playing, like it's a bunch of different versions that we can go through that I believe would be really, really beneficial for the Black community. That it doesn't matter what that system is over there. I think that we control our own destiny. That's where I personally stand at. So yeah.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but it sounds like you're saying that our current situation is one that's within our control in a way that it's not. There's no reverberation of what happened in the past. Like,
I think that what happened in the past definitely happened. My thing is that I think that we can solve our own problem. That's my specific opinion. Like, so I don't think that whether reparations come or not, I think that we can solve our own problem within our own community.
So what do you say to this? A person is arguing against reparations, and they're saying that, well, Q said that he's not a victim. So how do you then justify reparations if you're not a victim?
Well, we're about to go in a circle. You just stated.
Just make it clear.
I got you. I got you. You just stated, and again, it's loaded with different intuition, because understand that I did speak about the current state of Black America does get impact from white supremacist culture and victimization from that. But to answer your question directly, I don't think that, and what you just stated, current day reparations has nothing to do with like the current state of black people, as much as it comes from a bill that, or what is it, a debt that's owed, correct? Yeah. Like it doesn't deal with today. So I don't think that if that person is making that argument, it is an argument that is ignorant of why reparations is owed.
Do you see how it kind of complicates things versus if you were just to acknowledge that we are still victims of what happened to us? If we all get on one accord and say that we're victims, I think you're misinterpreting.
But I keep saying, like, every time you go plural, that's cool. That's cool. I think that black people also have self-determination and autonomy to be able to like build themselves up and be good in America without the need of any white institutions, and by way of like needing help, restitution of whatever. I think if we get that, it's old and that's great. But I think that black people as a group are ingenious enough, are powerful enough, are smart enough to where without it, we still would be great. We still will get it done. And to be able to believe that, it has to be the idea that we can defeat a system. It doesn't matter if that system exists or not. And that's my personal belief.
Man, I really don't want to go in circles. I promise I don't. But it sounds like sometimes it seems like when I ask it kind of a direct question, it seems like you kind of.
All right, what do you want me to give a yes or no to?
So, if we are missing out on all of this wealth, then you don't think that affects our self-determination? Or does it affect? Because you said we have self-determination, but we're missing all this wealth. So,
but to me, I don't cry over like the milk is spilled. Like we understand where we're at right now. My thing is the fact that what are we going to do now? And so like I'm present and future faced, right? I understand the fact of restitution for the past, and that's cool. I am not arguing against it. I am not anti-reparation. I am pro-reparation. I don't make any stances that go against it. I think that that's cool. I think that that's fire. But yeah, like that's to me that's the best that I can say.
I just can't get past the contradiction because I think the reason that
well, you keep asking me like how is like am I going against reparations by having a stance on current day? But that doesn't go against what reparations.
I know you're not going against it, especially like.
But it doesn't even contradict reparations, or if somebody used this out of context. Because again, like the thing is, I don't go like you're asking me like a very direct line of questioning, but this isn't like something that I'm like promoting. Hey, I am not a current victim. Like that's corny. Like it doesn't even make sense to like broadcast. Like the statement doesn't make sense. Like that's not something that. You know, like I do, but you keep asking, like, if somebody took me saying that, if that would have impact on reparations. And again, I think the fight for reparations has nothing to do with no matter what my opinion is today. So like it's like separate things, even if I was saying the worst thing or the best thing. Like if I'm pro reparations, it really doesn't matter.
So let's say you toiled and worked everything, you know, and then your whole life just so you could give the money to your son, and somebody stole all that money. Your son, you know, he still got fight in him, but he's supposed to have that money. If he never gets that money, I guess is he not a victim either? Because that's like kind of us in a nutshell. So is your son not a victim?
I think that he has been victimized. I think he has been victimized. That would be the word of what has happened. He has been victimized.
Grammatically,
he was a victim.
But you're not a victim. What is a victim then? Because I thought a victim is someone who's been victimized.
Yes, no? but it's the current state of being.
So you can be victimized, but not a victim.
Being a victim is like I think that the language speaks to like current, like it just happened. That's like the victim. Then as time goes by, you have been victimized. Like that's kind of like the tenses of it.
I thought until you've been made whole from your victimization, you're still a victim. Even if you've been made whole,
how are you ever made whole if you were previously a victim? Like if you were
exactly,
a victim,
I don't know if you're always somebody's victim, unless you get them back and get some justice. And I guess,
but even if you get them back and get them justice,
you're right. You're right, G.
you
you're
still,
not.
it don't
There's
take
no
away
way
from the past.
Exactly. So I'm just trying to meet you in the middle, Q, and then say, but I don't know if we're ever not going to be a victim of what happened to us. So for us to say we're not victims,
Gotcha.
I'm just, that's breaking the logic, because like what you just said, G, like if you've been victimized, then like I understand that it hurts. Like if you want to be prideful, seemingly, and I think you're interpreting saying that you're a victim as in saying that you should just give up, and that's not what I'm saying at all. If that's how it's coming off, like I think the fight in us should continue and it will continue, but I think we can acknowledge that we are victims and we can still continue fighting. Like if I'm boxing somebody and they got rocks in their gloves and I continue to fight them, I'm a victim of that person because I'm a victim. They cheated. But that if I continue fighting, am I no longer a victim? If I win, I still got cheated, right? I'm just struggling to figure out how a person's been victimized, but they're not a victim. Like even if they do get made whole, and I think,
Gotcha. I think that like that even that's like such a slippery argument that just would just get extrapolated by every single group.
So
to where then everybody's just inside a constant state of perpetual victim being a victim, and that just then goes that again. Then the Hispanics are going to start running with that. Then the Asians, then the Irish, then like you could just start running down the line. Hell, the Jews are going to start like running with it. To where like if your entire POV. So how about this? This is what like if your entire POV is that everybody's victims and so we all victims, then okay, I'll tap out. You got me there.
I mean, if that's the only way you'll say it, is if like, well, if the Jews are victims, then I guess I'm victim too. That's the only way you'll set it. But
that's the only way. That's not the only way I'll say it. I think that like if you're putting the brush so broad that if you've ever been victimized, then you'll always be a victim, and that's how you should live your life. Then okay, like that's your POV. Like if we're framing the conversation around that, then we all victims forever.
And then back to the topic though. It's basically on code behavior, because when we're talking about policing Black thought, I think we should try to get each other to be as on code as possible of people within our same lineage. So do you see how it may be detrimental to the reparations discussions if we have some of us saying we're victims, some of us saying we're not, but we can't get on the same page and on one accord? Do you see how do you think it would be more powerful for us to say, nah, we're victims of this and we need to make that right? You see, I think that would be more like conducive to justice if we can take the first step of acknowledging.
But I think the majority of Black people agree that the Black community has been victims of oppression.
Not has been, are victims. Because has been, because if we have been, but we're not now, then why do we need anything?
My bad.
Now? My point.
If the tense was wrong, I think that most Black people would agree that the Black community is victim, or are victim.
You can't even say it. We're victims of white supremacy.
I'm trying to, but yeah, are victims of white supremacy. But I guess in my mind, I'm trying to think of if that's what most people would actually believe in. And I think so.
Say it, like most people can't. Most people are like you though. They can't. A lot of people are like you where they can't even say it. I can think of a bunch of content.
Well, but you asked me to give a generalization of what most Black people think about, and that's where I have to get stuck at. Where like you were giving me to give a current tense of, then it then dictates like, what do I think of the current populace of Black America, and do they think that whether like we talking about the Democratic plantation, we're talking about like the conservative Blacks, and where the majority of those people list at. And that's where I had to struggle at, because of like, if you're telling me to give the current tense, then I think that there's some division in thought of what like Black people think about, I guess, current victimization on a couple different sides of the aisle that has nothing to do with my personal opinion. And that's what you just said. You said it's a lot of people that you can name that think that X, Y, Z. And that's in me answering your question, I have to consider that if I give it as truthful as possible.
I'm a little lost, but back to you talking about policing Black thought. That's where I think that the people who are unable to articulate that we are victims of white supremacy are problematic, especially when they have platforms, and even more especially if they're in positions to correct that victimization because of current victims, but they decide that we are our own worst enemy. It's not due to white supremacy, so therefore,
yeah, that's crazy. I heard some niggas saying that this past weekend that we're our own worst enemy. That black people don't actually want help.
Right. So he's basically saying we're victims of ourselves.
I disagree with that take completely. It was other, like we had a show this Sunday, but I'm actually addressed it this coming Sunday. If y'all got time, pull up 7:30. Community versus community versus the individual. We'll kind of have that conversation where there was definitely some points that I thought was like really interesting, where literally somebody said that black people don't actually want the help. That it just sounds good, but they actually don't want the help. It's funny that y'all breeze past like all these statements and y'all just worry about me saying black leaders need solutions. But
I'm talking to you right now, you know. Hey, but real quick,
they're talking to me right now. That doesn't even make sense.
No, I said I'm talking to you right
now.
No,
I get that. I'm talking about on Sunday. These were statements that I was saying then.
I got you. But real quick, because it sounded like earlier you were saying that you know that if you try to sell your house or try to get a loan or you deal with law enforcement, something like that, you could be treated differently because
my bad. Trey, let me stop you real quick. Like,
okay.
If you're asking me to say, are we victims of white supremacy? Yes. But I've said that a bunch of times.
Oh shit! No, I've been waiting like weeks for you to say that, bro.
No, but you understand? Like I've said it 1,000 times inside this episode. I keep saying that the black community as a whole are victims of white supremacy.
No, I don't want to. You did say that, but you have only said that I'm a victim of white supremacy.
Like how I personally identify has nothing. Like it to me, it just doesn't personally matter. So like if you're asking me, do I walk around with a victim mindset? To me, like that's what you're doing.
That's not what I said. I asked if you're a victim of white supremacy.
All right, so what you asked just a second ago was like, if we have a whole of black people, and like we're getting on one code and say, are we victims of white supremacy? Like I don't have a problem with that. I don't think that most people have a problem with it.
Can you say I'm a victim of white supremacy? Like, do you believe that you're a victim of white supremacy?
I have been victimized by white supremacy.
See, you said it 1,000 times, and I'm
no. See, you just asked me to say something differently.
No,
hey, G, are you a victim right now?
Are you a victim of white supremacy? Is what I said.
A current victim of white supremacy. What's your thoughts?
I'm always a victim of white supremacy.
There you go.
And because it sounds like almost you're saying like if I stay in my lane, I don't have to worry about being victimized. Which you shouldn't have to stay in your lane.
Why would that be what you took away from what I said?
Because you're saying that right now.
I just think that we have autonomy to be able to build our own by ourselves. That's my only point. And I think that comes with the power of not being a victim.
So if you can't,
I know that some people in the chat said that nobody's ever did anything in America without the help of, I guess, like the dominant society. Like that's an opinion.
We didn't get our turn. Oh, who has done something without help of the dominant society?
I don't know.
Like what collective? Because I think the person in the chat is absolutely correct. And I think if you don't acknowledge that, and I can see why it would be difficult to say you're not a victim of white supremacy, because you're not recognizing that you've been passed over for all these things. Like if you wanted to sell your house right now and you will not get the same results as a white person trying to do that same thing.
I haven't tried to sell my house, so I just can't personally give that like.
But we know it happens.
You don't need an appraiser to sell your house technically.
I'm about to say you also don't. And then so much of this happens literally online to it. It doesn't matter. But like we'll be getting into like real estate. Matter of fact, G, you and your people are in real estate.
Shout out Live Love Durham. Check that out.
Yeah.
If y'all looking for any interest, commercial, residential, let us know. We take good care of y'all. Live Love Durham. Holla at your boy.
Right. And this is not the discount that some black people do get lowball.
You think some black people,
I have to get lowball. I have to, but no, I'm just saying I have to get lowball for me to like make that statement.
But you agree that there have been plenty of articles where they change the pictures in the home.
It's discriminatory. It's a discriminatory, just like every other. Healthcare is discriminatory. Education is discriminatory. Like everything is discriminatory towards Black folk. I don't think, like, do anybody disagree on that?
It sounds like Q. No, but Q, if you understand that that's the current state of affairs of things, and you're Black within that current state of affairs, then how can you then say you're not a victim only because you haven't tried to exercise the things that you know?
Because I also know, do you know of any Black people that sold their house at market value?
Above market
value. Above market value. Okay, all right. Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. Like what you're saying, like this does exist, so it doesn't discount the fact. But it doesn't mean that every single like if you sell your house, that's what's going to happen. That's the point that I'm making.
You think you're misunderstanding. I know.
So if you're talking about the collectiveness,
we've always gotten around a lot of these things that happen to us. Like it's amazing that we're still here after everything we've endured. But the point is that we shouldn't have to endure any of that. We should just be able to do.
I'm not talking about enduring anything. I'm not talking about enduring anything.
But you just said that there are ways around it, pretty much. And my point is that
that's not what I just said. I just asked G, do you know Black people that have sold their house at market value? He said at market and above. What I'm saying is that version of victimization has not happened to me yet. If it does happen to me, I would be a victim of it.
But
I also know Black people that have sold their house and have sold with like as G said. And it's great that he knows multiple people because I'll just be giving anecdotal evidence on a smaller scale. But like I know Black people that have sold their house above market value.
So I think it sound like what Q is saying to me is that as an individual, he has yet to face that. He has yet to be a victim in that circumstance. Hence why he's not saying like so. It's like I guess it's like if you so it's like I may have been pulled over for driving while Black, right? Mm-hmm. That makes me a victim. I am a victim of police discrimination. But if you are in a situation where, okay, yeah, you may have got pulled over because you were discriminated against, but then on the other hand, you somehow, no,
like if we just stay with that same example, if you just never got pulled over, you don't discount the fact that there's a bunch of Black people that got pulled over driving while Black. Currently, that hasn't happened to you, so you can't say that you've been victimized by that specific thing. Like it's as simple as that.
I guess it's the individual versus the collective, because if you look at yourself individually, then I
think that there's two separate things, but the collective, I think, has been victimized.
But that's why I tried to.
This is why I keep going. Like it's like it'll continue being a circle conversation. Like to me, I'm not going to claim something that hasn't happened to me yet, right? So like you keep giving like the housing thing. If it does happen to me and I sell under market value, then I think it's like I can make a statement that I have been victimized. If I sell above market value, I can't say that I've been victimized.
That's why I started out with an example that was.
But that's why I'm also cool with saying, and shout out to Fat Boy. Not once have I said we ain't victims. I don't know what that means. Like I've spoken, like the collective in general, Black society. And damn, we done spent a lot of time on this.
Yeah,
have been victims and is victims of white supremacy. And I think that who is victimized at the highest rate are the less educated. And that's why my battle was always with socioeconomics.
Yeah, Fat Boy. He was saying that we as a collective have been victimized, but not him. So therefore,
and like you have to just go to a specific stance. Like if you're talking about housing discrimination, I personally have not been victimized. The house that I wanted, I got. And if I sell for above market value, then I can't make that statement. There's other things that I like. Can I say that I am a victim of, I don't know, like, not gentrify, like bad schooling funding inside like elementary school? Sure. I can say that.
So that's why I started out with an example of something that already occurred versus something that could potentially occur. When I said that a lot of the stolen wealth and the fact that you're having to deal with a lot of this stuff to begin with, that already means you've been victimized. And why you're still.
I agree. I never said that.
So that means you're a victim of what's happened to you.
Sure.
So you are a victim
Of
white supremacy.
of what has happened to me. Sure.
You're a current victim.
That's how you define victimize.
So you would say I am a current victim of white supremacy.
I am a current, like, sure. If you're like, if you're saying that like the broad scale, not specific individual events, but through my upbringing that has made me a victim of white supremacy inside some shape, sure.
That's not what I'm saying, but I guess that's the closest we're gonna get.
Yeah, I told you that we're just gonna circle around this conversation.
Because like, all right, so because it's like it does seem like and when we say policing black thoughts, this is basically mean we all gotta. It's like we do. Is that basically saying we gotta agree just to go to the next level? Like, is there any salvation for the people if we can't get on the same page, even say on a conversation like this? Like, how are we gonna move forward as a collective when we can't even just be on the same page and have disagreements? Like, is that a realistic expectation for everybody to be like, to agree on everything? Like why is that like a necessary standard for us to go to the next level?
Nah, G, I thought about that at first, and I think we don't need all of us. We're never going to have all of us to be on one accord. We just need a critical mass of us to be on code. And I think we're seeing a growing number get there. Some people will never get there. Everyone's not going to make it. But I think if we get 10% of people on code, that's going to cause people to follow, because that within that 10%, you're going to have people that most people are followers. So if you get 10% of people on code and they're being productive and making progress because they're on code, then you're going to start seeing things grow. So I agree that getting 100% is that's not what we need, and we'll be fine without that.
Word.
Just like with Malcolm X, it wasn't the majority of black people who were behind him, but he was still able to be effective.
So then, I feel like that would mean that you don't believe that black thought has to be policed. Like, you just need enough black people to believe in what you believe.
No, because I think the people who are on code should ostracize the people who are undermining them. Because if I say something about a tether undermining us, and I don't say something about another FBA who's undermining us, then I'd be a hypocrite.
Gotcha. No, I dig it. All right, so I guess if we attempt to get a little bit into the conversation, I had a couple lead in questions. It sounded like we spent a lot of time on victimization, victim mentality, being a current victim. But what are some issues when we take it outside of white supremacy? And if we are victims of white supremacy, that we can all agree on? Do we all agree that black men should be with black women and have black families and build a black community?
I wouldn't necessarily say that. No.
Oh, y'all don't think that?
Oh, I do. I'm pro on that one for sure.
I think the black men should be able to do whatever they want to do, just like black women do, just like white men do, just like every group of men has the power. I'm not into policing.
So how does that build a black community if we're taking the black man out of the black community?
Because I think that if you do go outside of your race, there is a high risk that you could get into some buffoonery. Let's replace that with a C. You know what I'm saying? And I think if you get
go
into
outside your race,
there are a lot of people who get into that.
So then you should be against. Then you should be against black men going outside.
But but at the same time, like Maya Angelou was.
Do you think that the two-parent household is like the cornerstone of a strong community?
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah.
So do you think that black kids having two black parents is important and will be
beneficial? Was it important for Maya Angelou?
I have no idea. I'm talking about.
Even got kids. I don't even know.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying, bro.
But you're kind of like just taking this to like Maya Angelou instead of talking about like
Maya Angelou.
Yeah, like instead of talking about the entire community. I'm just asking, do you think that having two black parents is important for black kids in the building of the black community?
I'm not okay with standards like that being applied to black people and nobody else.
So you're not okay with two black parents You don't think that?
But you do believe in double standards, though. You do believe in double standards. So you do believe that double standards are.
And I guess I'm trying to understand. So you don't think that the best thing for the black community is for two black parents to raise black kids?
I thought that until I saw that there was a double standard in that situation, and it seemed like it was more of a control thing where we've been trained. Where the same issue I had with Pan-Africanism, I'm not with this one-sided loyalty. If you are a black man and you are on code and somebody's with your program, I understand the risk that comes with it, but at the same time, I don't want to be the only people in the only group of men who are policed in our options. I just can't get behind that, bro.
I don't think we are only group of men policed in our options. I think in a lot of cultures as men, if you marry outside of your own, it's not always widely accepted. Same with like most cultures want you to marry within your people. I would say that's
the Indian, from the Asiatic Indians, pretty common. I'm gonna say the Jewish, like it really don't matter. They kind of all like push that same exact narrative.
Well, I could kind of see marrying, but would you say that there's a lot of people that dabble in?
Well, we're talking about families. We're talking about families. So it's like
we're literally talking about like community building.
I would say that it's best for the black community to procreate other black people, and both two-parent home is best for that. So yeah, I guess black
men should be with black women and have black kids and raise black families.
Yeah, I'll say that's ideal for everything, because it's just that, bro. It's just that I've seen too much.
Do you think that promiscuity in men is more important than building strong black foundations,
bro? I do not think that black men should be.
So you put like black men fucking girls of other races above building strong foundations for black communities.
If black women can mess with dudes of other races, then so black men.
I'm asking you specifically. So your answer is yes. Then
they got to stop first. I'm not gonna just.
So you do put promiscuity over building black community.
Bro, at the end, I'm not gonna be a one-sided loyal person.
I'm not asking you to be one-sided loyal person.
That's what it is, though, because at the end of the day, nobody's following those rules but black men.
Wait, my bad. I thought like I've had conversations with you. I feel like you said that black men date outside and marry outside black women more than black women did. They have more options. They're higher sought out after.
I'm saying
it just becomes
black men marry outside their race more, but black women have children outside their race more. So should you marry black men get married outside their race more, but black women have children outside their race more? That's a statistic.
I'd say post it in here, but so black men are getting so black men are getting married without having kids with white women. I'm kind of getting
they're having kids, but there's a higher rate of black women.
Yeah, matter of fact, I have to actually see that, because I remember looking at we've debated these exact points before.
Yeah, I sent you.
I had a different
statistician who.
I had a different takeaway from what you had said. Like, to me, the stats grade something else. No, I got you, but to me, like that's a sidebar to the actual point, which is saying, would you put black male promiscuity over black men being with black women and building black community?
I'm not really sure how because I think the black community and building the black community.
Do you think that like so for you is building the black
pussy
community
over the people?
Like is building the black community your number one priority as a black man?
No, pussy over people.
I agree that we need to be able to create more.
Is your personal main priority as a black man building the black community?
You can. I think I'm
just asking. Like, remember you was just talking to me about skirting around answers and doing all that.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'm trying to live by example and give you. Mm-hmm. You asked me a yes or no question, like I was trying to ask you earlier, right? So the answer is yes. I think the priority is black families. Yes, but I do. If I can add a caveat, which I won't filibuster, which is another thing I asked not to do, so I'll try to live by example, is that if black women are having kids with other races of men at a higher, and black men are getting married.
Whoa. Mm-hmm.
No, I'm saying like at the end of the day, this it's statistically, bro. Like there are more races. Black women are having kids with other races of men at a higher rate than black men are. So I want to address that because why would I be loyal
Right.
to should I raise that kid too?
But even in that, if you believe that
a black woman, right?
But you don't have to be pro. You don't have to be pro step kids. I imagine even if you go with that, that still shouldn't take away from what you believe is best for the community. If you believe that having a black wife and building black kids, like there's black women that only will date black men and has only dated black men and don't have kids to choose from. There's a bunch of them. So it's not like every black woman is dating a bunch of Brads to where like that's the whole field. So like you're making it such a straw man to where like you're saying they do it, so I got to do it too. But I also believe that black men are the leaders of the community. I believe you believe that as well. So I don't see why you would be making your choice based off of following women. That's kind of like a gynocratic perspective.
No, because I think it's the opposite. That the gynocratic
following women is not gynocratic.
I think what you're doing is
y'all niggas
allowing them to do things that, but you're saying no, I'm gonna be loyal one-sided. That means that you're under their power. They get to do what they want to do.
But when you're saying they like so imagine if your black woman has never dated, talked to a white man, and like y'all have black kids and a black family. Where's the there in that? Like your specific situation is that, and that's what I'm saying. Like if you're a black man and you lead your, I don't like why do I care? Like if we're talking about black empowerment and what's good for the black community, why are we bringing up white men? So like right now, again, like if you said that you believe that you're for the empowerment of the black community, you also said that the 2-family household and black men being with black women is a cornerstone of this strong black community. Why would it be also the fact that you believe that promiscuity would be over being with black women? And you would also be anti-gynocratic, but following the lead if you believe that black women date outside the race.
No, I think that's where you're losing. We're talking about
okay.
It's not because it's the opposite of gynocratic. Because what's gynocratic is a one-sided loyalty where you belong to them.
So if black women stayed with black men, would you date black women if they didn't date outside their race?
Yeah.
So it sounds like your opinion is based off what black women are doing. That means you're following the lead of black women, whichever way that they go. Well, if they date white men, then you're gonna date white women. If they stay with black men, you're gonna stay with black women.
So if
that's following their lead instead of being a leader in your community, right?
If you shoot at me and I bust back, am I following your lead or am I giving you a taste of your own medicine?
If you shoot at me, I don't know how that applies to this example.
Because that's
like all black women don't date white men. I don't know.
I will argue that's exactly why like you're not shooting because you want to, you're shooting because somebody did something to you. So therefore it's like you're shooting not because it's what you think you should do, is because you're reacting based off what somebody else is doing. That is not like, just because, we're taught, say, if somebody hits you, hit them back. But in reality, if you're not ready to fight, you wait till you ready to fight to go get that nigga back. You don't got to fight right then and there. Like, retreat, get yourself together.
So turn the other cheek?
No, I didn't say turn the other cheek.
It sounds like that's what you're advocating when, look.
I just said wait till you're ready to get that nigga back. That's not turning the other cheek.
Look, I am in favor of procreating with and reproducing like more black families. I'm with that, but it's not lost on me that there has been a lot of disloyalty where they've had access to our women for who knows how long.
When you say they, are who you talking about?
Every other race of men has had access to black women.
But if you're for black empowerment, why wouldn't you still just be focusing on the black community and building the black community? That's where it comes down to like promiscuity over building. I guess this is where I keep getting under. Like if your justification is because white men have had sex with a bunch of different races, and well, my bad. I'm gonna be really. Your argument is that white men have had sex with black women. So because of that, I should do something that's unproductive to the black community and go after Becky.
Why is it unproductive when
We
Brad
just
goes
talked about it. You just said
you're
that.
not letting me.
Okay, my bad.
Like 3 words in my sentence.
You're right.
Is it unproductive when Brad gets with sister and then go back to Becky? Is that unproductive for him?
Yes.
But it seems like it's been pretty effective because they've kept control for centuries, even while not being exclusively promiscuous.
Nah, because
with
he fuck around and get Keisha pregnant, and then Keisha have a mixed baby, and then Brad keep having all these mixed babies. That's the reason why white folks is scared. They about to be outnumbered. They didn't interbred too much. They should have kept it together. Should have kept it tight. now they at risk of getting weeded out here soon enough. Like they fucked up the strategy. They should have kept it tight, bro.
Would you say it did work out pretty well for them for like several centuries?
But it started downclining once they started mixed breeding. Should have kept that shit tight.
Or maybe it started.
I didn't even think about this point. That's a great point.
But maybe it started going down when.
As soon as they started fucking they seen that ass on the plantation. No, like, bro, I gotta do something.
That's not what happened. What happened was
I gotta do something. I can't keep watching all this ass pick that cotton. He was like, I gotta see what it's like.
No, what happened?
And that's his downfall. That's white man downfall. He was on top of the world till then, boy.
I think the downfall was in Loving versus Virginia when a black woman and a white man fought for their right to get married to each other. Because before he had all the access in the world, but didn't marry them. But and it was all fine. But as soon as they passed that law, that's when black men had access to their women then. So that caused that. I think that was more impactful to.
But it's still more of their downfall to mix breed with us than it is our downfall to mix breed with them. I say if you're gonna compare the two, it is not to their advantage to have mixed babies.
Definitely not.
Look, hear me out.
I think it's more ostracized on their side than it is on our side.
Like they are being forced to accept that their grandkids don't look like them.
And you see that? Like you see that white grandma out there at them AAU tournaments? Yeah. Like it's a little to her.
Look, man, Yo, this is a fact. Oh man,
but I don't want to. I want to clarify, man. I do want to procreate and reproduce and make more people of our lineage. I'm with that 100%. This is the only part that gets me stuck is just knowing that I don't want to be the only group of men who are, like police in the way that we only have the option for, we're only able, if we're promiscuous with someone that's not black, that's a problem. Whereas all other men, they travel the world, they have all the freedom in the world, but I'm supposed to not have that same freedom because I'm a black man. That's the part that just don't sit right with me.
No, I think black men should be able to do what they want. However, if you preach a certain message, right? Like if you're a white supremacist, I expect your chick to be white.
But the KKK, you don't think the KKK was messing with all kind of black women?
But what I'm telling you, then they off code. What I'm telling you is,
no, they are. White, they didn't have no problem with it, bro.
If you really are a white supremacist, you shouldn't want to interbreed with nobody. You shouldn't want to mix and mingle. You should want to stay your ass with your people.
What? Andrew Jackson had like a whole hidden room in his house with
off code.
Alice Hemings. He was like king white supremacist.
Off code.
He was out there doing all kind of laws to hurt us, and he had a black woman the whole time, and he was
off code.
But how's he off code if he's writing laws that empower his race?
Off code. He off code. He off code.
I just don't get that logic, bro. Because if they're able, it's just I don't want them to have the ability to do things that I don't have the ability to do. That's the part.
I hear you have the ability, but what I'm simply saying is that if you preach a certain message, I expect your lifestyle to support what it is you say you're about. And in my opinion, my personal opinion, if you say you're pro-black people and pro-black community, but you're not pro-black relationships and marriage, then I see that as a direct contradiction to how you say your from what you say to how what you live impacts what you say. That's just my personal opinion.
Yeah, G, you know, it makes zero sense to say a white supremacist is off code when they're actually doing things to empower their race. They're more on code than for their race than most black people.
The act
with a black wife.
The act of being romantic with a non-white woman as a white supremacist, you should look in the mirror and be ashamed of yourself.
But that's not how it works. That's what the majority of them did, bro.
And they should be ashamed. They should be ashamed.
But they weren't.
And they deserve several lashes.
But they were able to enforce white supremacy while not just messing with. As a man, they can do it. They traveled the world. They went to Asia. They were in Africa. They were all over the globe doing whatever, exercising their promiscuous, their freedom with promiscuity. So,
and they contradicting themselves. They're clearly contradicting themselves.
According to you,
that's my opinion. Nigga, I said my opinion.
Okay, my opinion is that what's good for the goose is good for the gander.
And I don't think it's been good for their gander. I don't think it's been good for their gander.
I think they've been pretty effective in enforcing their will for several centuries.
But that's not because they're fucking other bitches. It's like
you're right.
That's what I'm saying. You're putting two and two things together. You're saying that
that's what you're putting them together. I'm saying they're separate.
You're enforcing their power because they're sleeping with other races and they're creating laws. Like all I'm telling you is, if you are a person who believes in white supremacy, period. I don't care what role you don't have to be a president. You could be a janitor. You could be a farmer. I don't care what your role is. If you identify as a white supremacist and you are lusting after colored women, you deserve to be like, you deserve a penalty.
You don't have no authority over white supremacy. You black. Nigga, what you mean? How you gonna tell them? How you gonna punish them for not enforcing their own code?
Punish their own. Get your people in check. Y'all got to make sure that these white supremacists keep it white. Keep it white.
You don't got no say in what they do. You don't got no. You know what I'm saying? I get what you're saying. I don't.
Yeah, I guess I agree with Trey. Not Trey. G.
That's right. G.
Right, G. Right. But no, I agree with G. Where I personally don't think that the majority of white supremacists are sleeping with black women either, though. I think that even inside like a lot of different things, they're incentivized not to. But I think that like when you hear
that do.
Why do you know white supremacists?
Because I mean, I grew up around people that like there are white people in the neighborhood. White people in my
so you're saying like you went to school with like white supremacists, not that you was hanging out with them.
I wouldn't say I'm hanging out with them. They have their views on things. I have my views on things. Like they're pro. I mean, they're not even pro-white. I don't even know if they're like.
So they're not white supremacists then.
I don't know if they're like white percent. Excuse me. I don't think they're white supremacists.
You remember when you asked me about victimization just a second ago? You see, and you was like, it was tough, and you started thinking about it. It's not like you're doing that with your white friends right now.
No, I don't think that.
So are they white supremacists or are they not white supremacists? Did you know that they've been fucking?
I don't know. They're all right, fine. They're not. I would say they're not white supremacists, but I do see some sisters throw themselves at them when we're out.
But right now we're talking about pro-black, pro-white.
But I'm saying,
and I think a lot of them, like when I hear, like when you get the leak, what is it? The leak shit from Nick Fuentes. They talk about if they sleep with a black woman, it's like fucking a dog or some shit like that. They don't fuck with the shit at all. Like they have like this really nasty rhetoric to where they ostracize that behavior.
So cute.
That's what I've seen and heard of people that were quote unquote white supremacists that actually believe those things. Like if you're talking about like a white person, I think that there's a white man. I think white men and white women both fetishize black people. And I don't disagree with you on that. If that's the point you're making, I don't think that white supremacists and white nationalists like go out of their way in any way to really fuck black women.
Wait, you can't really be saying that knowing our history. They used to always have.
Okay, my bad. Like, let me put like modern day white supremacists. If you want to talk about on the plantation,
so when did they stop?
They exploited what they thought was their property.
So just today, when I was working from the coffee shop today, I saw multiple black women with white guys. And you're telling me that Even
No,
though I
are
see
they
that
white
everywhere.
supremacists? Right now, again, we're just
Oh,
talking
all
about
right,
pro-black and pro-white.
No, I don't know them to determine if they're white supremacists. No, I don't
And
know.
you in South, and you see a lot of them black dudes with white women. You don't see that?
No, I see the opposite way
Okay.
more. Like seriously, I
That's-
see the opposite way too much for me to just sit there and say.
I
You
work
see-
downtown.
You see more black women with white men than black
Yes.
men with white women.
Yes, I do.
Are you just saying like in this one coffee shop you go to, or are you saying
No.
generally?
Everywhere in the bars, in the coffee shops during the day and during the night.
So black
I see
women
it a
are
lot.
more sought after by Brad than black men are for from Becky.
Not for marriage, but
Okay.
yeah. Because I've seen black women approach the white dudes around me. Like the white dudes not even like
They look at
you
you
say
and
sought
then turn
after.
to
I
white
think
dude.
the white dudes, bro. I'm not gonna lie, bro.
Is that why you mad?
Nah, bro. There's one. I've seen a black girl and a white girl together. The black girl like the white dudes, and the white girl like the black dudes. I mean, I see. Like, it's not just. I just don't want to have no one-sided loyalty when I see this all the time, and then I'm supposed to get mad at a black man for doing the same thing I see black women do. I just
So
can't do that,
but you'll betray the black community as the leader of the black community because of that.
I don't see it as a betrayal.
So
Is it a betrayal when they do it?
Boy, that is funny.
Is it a betrayal when sisters get with brats?
For sure.
For sure.
100%.
I personally would never date a black woman that's dated a black. I mean,
The
a white man.
Serenas, the Eves of the world.
I have no interest inside a black woman that
No
has
pedestal
ever dated
here.
a white man.
pedestal here.
So why do you think we don't hear about that get criticized as much as we see the other way around?
Oh, we
Bro,
get criticized.
listen,
in this
I
household.
I personally don't really care about like what women are
Like
saying about that.
Umar, for example,
but
he's always talking about what
No,
what
he
black
don't.
men
No,
do.
he got
nah, he give it to the.
Nah,
Yeah, I've definitely seen that.
I
He
mean,
don't like no
but
interracial mixing.
primarily,
Nah, he don't like no interracial mixing, bro. I just got it.
I feel you, but
He's thorough on
primarily-
that. He's thorough on that.
all right. So where are the sisters that get on black women for doing that?
It's a few.
It's a few. I haven't heard it. I hear a lot of brothers like y'all are not alone in y'all's energy, but I don't see. I have not met a sister. A lot of the ones I do hear talk on it, they say that that's their preference. That's their preference.
Well, I ain't gonna lie. I really don't be caring about what
I ain't
women
never
are
met a
saying
white girl.
on the
I ain't never met a black
on the
girl that
internet.
said white man was her preference. Me
No, I'm
personally.
saying no. I'm saying
About-
they
black
don't
dudes
say that that's their
girls
own
with their
preference. They're saying that the other women are free to whatever their preference is, or either say there's not enough black men, or they say all kinds of things to justify it. I've heard that a lot, but when it comes to black men doing it, that's when it's a problem, and that's the only thing. It's not like I don't agree that in the end of the day, if you can't be pro-black and then not prioritize black procreation, I'm with you there, but I just can't get past this unfairness where they get to do what they want, but we can't. And then if you look back through history,
But I
only
think
had
black men,
access-
like black men, fuck white women more than black women fuck white dudes.
I wholeheartedly disagree with that.
We can run the stats up.
You talking
not
about marriage
stats
though,
up,
but our
like, we can-
interracial kids. I think black women mother
I
more
think-
kids outside the race than black men do.
Again, I've seen a white dude at a HBCU, and I've seen a black dude at a PWI. There's a difference. There's a fucking difference.
Wait, hold on. Come again. Pause.
I've seen a white dude. I've seen most like I've known even like the cool white dude at the HBCU, and I've known like the cool black dude at the PWI. It's different still.
So the white dude at the HBCU isn't getting all kind of.
Especially if you're just an average white dude, it's not even much play for you at all.
Yeah.
Like if you cool and you have like a certain level of status, you might like you might get like a regular black woman at a HBCU. I don't know any of the bad ones to go to any white dude at least where I've been at. I know that
he gonna get a good adjustable 6.
Yeah. It'll be something like that. I don't know them to just walk off with the bad ones at the HBCUs. That's me personally. I know PWI wise, the cool black dude, he can rack up on Becky's, especially if you just talking about popping and dad ain't got to know.
And I know ugly niggas who get hella white pussy. Like,
yeah.
I be like, damn, nigga, you ugly as shit. And the white bitches love it.
I think this comes down to, I guess, back to the topic. It's difficult to police black thought when black people have different experiences sometimes, especially. But I think the things that are most important are when we need to get on code for justice. I don't know if like meat policing black men.
Meat policing.
Your black men be inside black women, be in the black community and have black kids.
Policing, like yo, the extreme. Yeah, this nigga go to the extremes to fuck these white hoes, man. This nigga, y'all meat policing, like nobody, yo, do what you want to do, my brother. Like, go get. I don't even know. Go get a Susie. Is that like what's the Asian name? Whatever you call. Go get you. Yeah, go get you a Ling, go get you Maria, go get you a Becky. Look, you can have all three, brother. Power to you, bro. Nobody's meat policing, bro. Please don't.
I mean, bro, and anytime a black man does it, he has a black woman to thank for it, because if not for that, it wouldn't even be legal. Like, he needs to thank whoever, Mildred Loving, the black indigenous woman who, took her bride to the Supreme Court just for the right to interracial date.
So is that like another point of like you following the lead of what a black woman did? I think like the stronger thing would be to like I just don't be following people. I guess that's my problem.
If Maya Angelou can have a white man and she's a black feminist legend,
but why as a black man am I following after what that black woman did if I'm the leader of my community?
So basically, to make
like, I don't see why you would keep bringing up examples of what women did if black men aren't supposed to be the leaders of the community.
But you
I'm not going to follow what that woman did. Like, I don't know why what that woman's doing got anything to do with me unless that's my woman.
That's a reach, because you can make that same logic and say, well, my girl cheated, so I guess that means I don't want to follow her because I don't want to be like.
No, I would just leave her. I would just leave her, and yeah, like you can kind of just X out of that. Same thing if she has been with a white guy, I'm not dating that black woman. I guarantee you. Like I
don't disagree with that.
That would be the direct correlation to what you were saying.
No,
like,
I don't disagree with that.
Like if somebody cheats on me, I'm just not going to be with them more. I'm good.
Man,
like, I'm all
again, bro. I don't disagree with. It's hard for me to disagree with a lot of what you're saying. I feel you. The only part that I just can't get past is if other races of men are allowed to have the freedom, then I think that black men should have that same freedom. That's it, bro. I understand it sounds crazy to be pro-black and then also be in favor of black men doing what they want, even if it's not with black women. But at the same time, if I see other men doing something, I'm not in favor of black men being the only group that can't. Like, just to keep it simple, bro. But I do want to procreate with more black people. But bro, I don't know, bro. I can't rationalize it too, because as much as I want pro-black things, I just can't be the only group that doesn't have the ability to do what they want, bro. Like they didn't have a problem with.
But the thing is, like, why would you want to do what you
white
want
guys?
in spite of your community?
Passport bros. Like white guys can be passport bros since.
But my question is like, does passport? But
why does
passport? You're about to say, does passport bros help the black community? But why do you want to do everything that the white man does if it's detrimental to your community?
Because anything that they have the power to do, black men need to have that same power. Full stop.
That's your that's your version of fulfillment, is doing what white folks do.
Okay, how about this? Anything black women have the power to do, black men need to have the ability to do the same thing.
What can we not do that black women do?
Date interracially in peace.
Niggas do it all the time. Look at the draft.
What are you talking about?
Nah, bro. Everyone's always up in arms, bro.
What is you talking about? Like,
everyone's always up in arms, bro.
No, man. I think you just be internalizing. You be internalizing the critique, and it be hitting home. It be yo, man, you got to face those.
Here's a good example.
That's your ancestors telling you you're not doing right.
So Barack Obama versus Kamala Harris. If Barack Obama had a white woman with him, it would have been a problem. But
he wouldn't have won.
An eye. Right, but Kamala Harris, like black women didn't say nothing about.
She didn't win.
She didn't win.
But you didn't hear the same black women that would have said something if Barack Obama had a white woman. They didn't say a thing about Kamala Harris, right?
I don't think they did. I think that's a fair point. But I also think that black men have talked about her having that white husband.
But we did, but black women didn't.
Right. But I think that the opposite sex cares more.
Yeah, like they still gonna. Yeah, exactly. We should have that smoke.
No, because y'all would have had smoke for Barack Obama too if he had a Becky.
Y'all are black men, me, bro.
I don't know if I would have had smoke. Okay. I just wouldn't.
I don't think that he identifies as pro-black.
Yeah, I'm side.
No, of course. But the thing is that most black politicians got white women. That's almost like a hell of a prerequisite. Especially don't be conservative. My thing is that
Van Jones.
Right.
Even look in the chat now, bro. And everybody joining forces on me because I'm saying that black men should be able to do what they want to do. Look. So what's the problem? It's a problem when black men do it, but when black women do it, it's not a problem. Like,
hey man,
but I think most people don't think that black women get more. I think the average black man thinks that they're more. I put it like this: the average
vote for Kamala.
You on your own, brother.
He ain't say nothing about Doug.
Hey, shout out to the brothers in the chat who love their sisters, bro. Shout out to
y'all.
Shout out to the brothers. Shout out to the pro-black family brothers in the chat, man.
Listen, I'm not gonna lie. There was a while where I was characterizing Trey's opinion on black women with the FBA, and I thought it was a different entity.
I told you it wasn't like 1,000 times.
Not for sure. And again, I have appreciated over time, every single time. Listen, you told me it was different. That's cool. I agree with you. You said that. I'm just like, you ain't even gonna let me get this point out. Look at
because I want you to remember this time.
I'm trying to give thanks to these pro-black men that love black women. And I think that I had y'all mischaracterized for a point where I thought that y'all all believed inside the exact same perspective when it came down to black women as Trey did. And hearing y'all thoughts over an extended period of time, every time these conversations are brought up, I fuck with it. I think that, this is also a place of policing black thought. I think that even inside movements such as pro-black, there's a division in even something as simple as dating and dating preferences. And you can kind of see that.
Again, bro, I'm torn on this because it really.
I get it now, though, Trey. I do get it. I might be a little tight too if I'm out with some corny ass white dudes. We out on the scene. Bitch, make eye contact with G and then go to this nigga over here on the left. I'm tight. I'm super tight, bro. I'm not gonna lie to you. I might have a vendetta too. I'm not gonna lie, bro. So look, I'm not even gonna hold it against you now. I get it. I'm tight too. I wouldn't feel that good about what I got going on either if she make eye contact.
I feel great about what I got going on, bro. I'm just not. That's not what it is. But I just see what they got going on. If that's what they got going on, then enough said. I'm not gonna have any smoke for black. If I see a black woman with a white dude, and I see over there a black dude with a white girl.
Shout out to TBI. That's what's up, TBI.
No, but saying if I see black girls with white dudes everywhere, and I see a black dude with a white girl, then why am I just gonna? I'm gonna be like, well, it is what it is. I don't want to just see it.
But to me, I just look at it both as corny.
Bro, it's not the 17.
My bad. I don't even. I personally don't even look at it as corny. I think if you look at if you preach pro-black shit, I think that it's kind of corny. But I do think that the progression of black people does deal with black on black dating and marriage and family building. But you know what I mean? I ain't gonna side. Listen, I got two brothers that like the snow. It's okay. We
I
joke
didn't
on you
say
a
I
little
like the
bit,
snow. I didn't say that.
as you said.
didn't
That's
say I
what
like the
FBAs
snow.
do.
Man, a lot of niggas like the snow. I ain't gonna lie.
Yeah,
Like, I think
and it's okay.
say I like the
It's
snow.
okay.
if
I
I boil,
literally-
if at least 3 out of 10 of the homies is like all
They
on
like
the
snow.
slopes. Like they don't just like the snow. They go to they
Let me think.
live on the slopes. They are
I
professionals.
feel like 2. I got.
Well, that's not
It's
not.
I know-
three out of
too.
10. 3 out of 10, I would say, is the ratio. A good 3 is
Yo.
like, nah, that's my shit. The white, like they double down on it. Like,
Yo, I gotta reiterate, bro. I'm not saying I'm big on the snow like that, but I am big on black men when they being able to do whatever they want to do.
What about Maria
Just
and
every
Lean?
other group of men?
all right, Lean,
What about Maria and Lean?
Lean number 1.
Do you put anybody over the black woman, Maria or Lean?
I don't put nobody
Nobody,
over
okay.
the black woman. But I'm
Who you
not
put over the
going
white
to-
woman, Maria
Trey
or
must
Lean?
got one of them Asian spots that Robert Kraft went to.
Nah, bro, I said,
Trey done
too
got
much
the
to
right
be-
happy ending. That's the problem.
bro, I done
Is
said
it
too much
Lean
to-
or Maria? Go ahead and let us know.
bro, I don't left too
You
much
like
to
it
be
spicy?
misinterpreted.
Or is it my bad? Keep going.
Bro, I left way too much to be misinterpreted. The bottom line is black men need to be able to do whatever they want to do. And that's the end of it, bro. Like, I'm not saying I prefer nobody. They don't got nothing to do. But if black women can do it, and I see that everywhere, then I don't care. I'm not gonna get mad at the black men for doing the same thing I see black women doing. That's the only thing, bro. And if I'm gonna get ostracized for that, then whatever.
Why follow the lead of black women through your perspective? Like, I don't even think that that's true, but why would you be following what black women are doing?
It's not
Instead of leading
following,
black women.
but it's not following the lead of black women. It's following the lead of everybody else who has the freedom to do what they want, except for black men.
You just gave
for
the
some reason.
example of black women, and that if they do that, I'm gonna do it. That's following black women.
Hear me out then. Well, if I see a white dude and he's dating all kind of women, and I see a black woman and she's dating all kind of dudes, I'm not gonna be the only one sitting here getting mad at black men for doing the same thing everyone else does.
But female wise, isn't black women the least likely to date outside their race?
No,
Statistically, who is?
They're the least likely to marry outside their race.
Oh, okay, you don't think that like none of those stats kind of correlate?
No, they don't correlate because you don't have to be married to procreate. You can have kids out of wedlock with non-black men.
So you have stats to talk about black women dating more outside their race, or
not
this is
dating,
like just like an
procreating.
assumption.
Procreating. There are stats.
Those stats, like send them. Those like I've seen the stats.
I sent it to you yesterday.
Yeah, I've looked at the stats. I forget what is it through like the I can't remember the exact source, but we can look it up again. I'm sure we'll have a long chat conversation about it at some point.
Man, I don't know, man. Like I've showed you the stats. If you want to disagree, it is what it is, bro. I think that's a very gynocratic perspective where you're just like, I don't believe it, bro. There's no way the black woman would never. Like, bro.
No, I'm just saying, like, I don't know it to be true. I also think that black men are more sought after than black women when it comes to interracial dating, or like even like fetishized. I think the black man is fetishized possibly the most out of any man in the world.
Yeah, again, because it really be the ugly niggas getting the white chicks. Like,
yeah, I think that black men don't have a problem with white women. I think it's more of a like an elevation of black men.
High success with white chicks in ways where it's like interesting. Like that's the type.
Yeah, that's my point,
bro.
But not vice versa.
Black men need to be able to do whatever.
I think usually it talks about like black women struggling inside that field.
That's not my problem, bro.
No, I'm just saying that contradicts your point.
But
if it's not your problem, that's cool.
No, don't contradict my point.
If they struggle in there, that means they're not dating those guys.
Dating is different than having intercourse with.
Got you.
I know every white dude that I know has been with a black woman.
That's what's up. Or not what's up. I don't know what it is, but that's an interesting group of white men you got.
And I've
heard those are also the white. You didn't say, are those the guys you said was white supremacists, or those is like different group?
I've seen some that were white supremacists and some that weren't, but all of them have been with black women. They don't want to marry black women, but they've been with them. What am I going to do about that? I can't stop black women from getting with them, and none of them approach the black women either. I was with this dusty dude who was kind of heavy set and everything, and he was giving saying the weakest game. When I see these brass with the white women, they're not even that fly looking. So I'm like, bro, that's the game we playing. If that's the game we playing, then I'm not going to be over here hard on black dudes for meeting that energy, bro. Like you can't just go out there and then mess
No, I
with
think
all
that
races of dudes
from
and come back
us
to
to the
brothers.
chats, we've all like I think everybody agrees that even the ugly black dudes rack up on white women.
Yeah.
I say even the ugly brads rack up on black women.
I don't know about that,
Bro,
bro.
I wish y'all
I
could
just
hang
don't be
out
knowing
work
like
for-
black women that date white men like that.
Bro, I wish y'all could pull up one day and just work from this neighborhood where I do.
You talking about like the
what I see.
PWI black women? I could believe that. I feel like that's
I
like a
don't know where
different
they went to
association.
school. I just don't know that, you know.
I just know like most black women, and then the black women I went to school with, I haven't seen like a specific affinity for white men like that.
The messed up part, not the messed up part, but a lot of the sisters I see, I don't even find they're not even the like attractive sisters. Some are, some aren't. But I see white dudes with unattractive sisters that I would never give any play. But I see them with a brad, and I also see the ones that are mad attractive. I see them with a brad. I see everywhere I look. That's what I see. So I'm not gonna sit here and say that black men.
You see the baddies with brads.
Yes, that's what I'm telling you, bro. If I didn't see that would kill my argument.
Usually when I see him with a brad, she don't like to shave or
got a bad wig on.
Bro,
like,
that wig be horrible. I ain't gonna lie.
She like to wear hiking boots or which other one? It's like either she wears hiking boots on a regular, she doesn't shave, or she's like bisexual.
I see all that too. They get the weirdest ones. I see the weird ones. I see the normals. I see every variety of sisters.
It'd be rare that I see a black woman that really know how to put herself together that be with a brad.
I'm in
the ones that I see, but I could like I'm only speaking anecdotally.
Bro,
I went to a HBCU. I'm in Charlotte. Even downtown.
Ain't a reflection of everything.
I know that's why
uptown Charlotte.
Did not. No, I work uptown Charlotte. But I said anecdotally, so I could be wrong. That's how I prefaced the statement. I didn't say that HBCU was reflective of anything. I was making the statement of the opposite. But I also be in, like I said, uptown Charlotte. That's where my job is. I'm North Tryon.
In the younger areas, you be with the old heads. I would say is less pronounced, but these young folks, they don't really. The people younger than me, they don't have no type.
So you be at white bars with 22-year-olds. Sure, we passed that, bro.
I mean, is that what this is about? Because at the end of the day, no matter where, I'm trying to switch
I love Trey, man.
Like, wherever I'm at, it's what I see.
Is that what this is about?
Yeah, so you see them, I think down the road when they realize that a white dude not going to marry them, then you might see them not do that. But right now, when they out here experimenting, messing around,
man, I don't think Brad be checking for black women like that. To be honest, there's no shade to my black women, but that's also shade to black women.
I don't know what to tell you, bro. But I like that we finally got to this point because y'all, my lived experience. If I had experience,
Collins, we about to get to you.
If I had y'all's perspective, if I had y'all's lived experience, then I would have a different perspective where I didn't see that. But for me to see this every day, all the time, I'm not going to sit there and see that and then say, oh, well, I know I see them do it, but I don't think black men should do the same thing. I just can't do that, bro. I maybe call it petty, call it whatever. But no, bro, I'm not going to be the only one playing by a set of rules. Hell no. Yeah, wrap it up.
Damn, I got to see. I love to see what you see.
Daily, bro, like at least 4 or 5 every day.
Yo, you should start taking little snapshots on the low.
I ain't gonna be taking pictures.
That's about to be crazy, boy. I ain't gonna lie to you.
Yo, that shouldn't be funny.
Bro, other thing,
that nigga said, "Fuck Umar Ranch." It's about to be black and white, black women with white men at the coffee shop.
I see 3 studs a day too, bro.
All right.
Oh yeah, I mean it's gonna be out there.
Listen, shout out to Rel and Tone. They'll love that part. But yeah, nonetheless, I think that we only got 12 minutes left. I'm gonna start bringing up call-ins. Again, setting the rules for it. Again, no ad hominems. Love for y'all to address the topic. If not, it address commentary that somebody and or everybody has had on the topic, and we can kind of go from there. But again, first ad hominem, got to mute, go backstage, bring up the next person. Let's speak to concepts and not specifically to whatchamacallits, to personal attack. First up,
That boy,
bam,
funny,
bam, bam, bam. We have Unc. Talk to us.
Yo, what's going on, everybody? Peace.
What's going on?
Good.
That's good, huh?
Yo, Trey, I apologize. Now I understand what you
I think that you about to go there. No ad
I want
hominem.
to apologize about what I was saying in the comments. I understand now. It's the where he's at that he sees that. So if that's where he sees and that's where he at, then he's right about what he's seeing. If that's where he's at, you know. So
Okay.
I apologize. I do apologize about that, Trey.
Yeah,
But
appreciate
you
it.
know,
Yeah.
anything outside that, you know what I'm saying? You stood on your square tonight. You know what I'm saying? You did. And you know, white supremacy, I believe it exists, you know, but you know, it's nothing that we, you know what I'm saying, it's an issue that's always gonna go on as long as the white people are in control. We're in a country that you gotta look at it. United States is a country, right? But they call us Americans. Why is it that the people in the United States can claim a whole continent? United States is the country, but we call ourselves Americans. We claim the whole. We'll say that Mexicans need to get out of America. Mexico is in America. Am I right or wrong?
Continentally,
yeah,
not nationally.
But it's not. But the United States
That's a
claims the whole America. Canada is part of America. They say that Canada ain't in America.
sound like
United
that dude
States is not
Pesto
the
now.
only country in
Yeah,
America. You know. So, but yeah, right. You know, what I'm saying we all have issues with, you know, what's going on with the white supremacy. We all have issues with, you know what I'm saying, things that were happening in the past still affects us now.
Mhm.
So, you know, it's not like none of us, you can't, but you can understand the issue, but you don't know about what's going on with the issue until it happens to you. You can just see from someone else's eyes, but until it happens to you, you really don't understand it. You can sit around and even, you know what I'm saying, have sympathy for it. But if it doesn't happen to you, you really can't say that it's something that's affecting you.
No, I dig it. I get it. I don't have any disagreement there. All right, so cool, Unc. Appreciate it. That was that was good, fair commentary. I like the mending of fences between Unc and Trey. Like I've seen apologies both ways over the past few weeks. I like our brothers coming back together and finding some middle ground. This is fine. Yeah,
it's not FBA culture to be rude to people that are, you know, your senior. You know what I'm saying? So I don't want to be like that. You know what I'm saying? So shout out to Unc, shout out to everybody, all the FBA brethren in the chat. You know what I'm saying? Whether you agree with me or not.
I dig it. Yeah, nonetheless, Unc, I'm gonna bring you backstage if we kind of low on time, but if we got, depending on how long Don P is, if anybody else calls up, possibly bring you back up. But yeah, Don P, talk to us, brother.
Yeah. Can y'all hear me?
Yeah, we get you.
Yep.
Yes, sir.
All right, cool. So I'm gonna say this about Trey, man. Yo, listen, I rock with you just off of the fact that whenever you speak, you stand on your square. Like, it don't even matter if you know you finna say something that sounds crazy or you finna say something that's an unpopular opinion. You gonna stand on your square. I would say that. I could definitely trust that. As far as like the whole thing about the Tariq Nasheed situation and, you know, FBA and white supremacy and all of that, like with you know, Q to the other brother with the Mets gear on, like with, I don't know if y'all in tune or whatnot, but
That's Durham Bulls, brother.
Mets.
Oh, I don't know what that is. He got the, it looked like the Knicks colors or whatever. I don't know what that is. But
it's the Broncos.
what I was, okay. But what I would say is
It's a lot of Bull City disrespect happening. That's crazy.
You said what?
No, like He called it the Broncos.
No,
That's
go
the
ahead.
Bull City. What is it? The Bulls, the Durham Bulls.
Durham
That's
Bulls.
their
Durham
that's
Bulls,
their
the
baseball
local
team.
team.
Why y'all took the Denver colors?
How you know?
Yeah,
Let's get to Don. Listen, Don P about to
fault.
let us know where we wrong at. So I want to hear that for sure.
All right, so like a lot of people who's not in tune, they make the mistake of thinking that the people who is subscribing to Tariq or co-signs Tariq, that we only follow Tariq. And what y'all fail to realize is there was people before him, like Dr. Quest Wilson, Dr.
Yeah.
Claude Anderson, Millie Fuller, Khalid Muhammad. Like, so a lot of the messages that
Yeah, I
Tariq
like these
Nasheed
brothers.
is talking about now, yeah, like that's where it came from. You know what I mean? So the whole thing of being on code and talking points like that, that's exactly like where it came from. So it's not one of those things to where we just follow behind him. You know
Right.
what I mean?
I don't
Like
think that anybody
it's
made a
one of those
statement
things to
about
where,
that y'all were following behind him specifically.
No, we Nasheedites, remember? What that mean?
Nasheedites.
yeah,
Oh, that's speaking.
when you said
Oh no,
Nasheed,
that's
that's what
speaking.
I think of, like.
Oh, that's specific to very specific people. Where like you can't.
Moonwalking, bro.
No, I don't even know what you said, but
Moonwalking.
moonwalking. No, it's not moonwalking. If I'm speaking specifically to like specific action, so to me, if no matter what it is, you're just defending this person. He's talking about the concept. Like this is why, like, there's a I think y'all would agree with this. There's a separation between FBA and Tariq Nasheed, right? So critiquing one person doesn't mean critiquing like the entire movement. And to me, I agree with your point. There were plenty of people. Like again, unless you just got on the train like within the past 4 or 5 years, maybe you think that Tariq is the start of any version of this movement, but he's not. But like, yeah, I guess I'll toss it back to you. I can't remember like what the other part to your point was, but yeah, keep going, brother. You got the floor.
All right, so the critique
But I don't
that you
disagree
get
with
about
you.
Tariq Nasheed is like the whole like I don't know if you said it, but I hear that a lot of times, man. You could correct me if I'm wrong if you didn't state that. But the whole cause and division thing, right? Or whenever you get on these Twitter spaces and I guess you see the clips of him roasting somebody. I feel it through a full interview of him, and whenever he talks about the certain issues that people press him on, it makes sense. It makes logical sense. And if you was to watch the full video, or if you was on spaces to where you would see the context of why he's roasting somebody, it's because he was provoked. It's always because he's provoked. Never one time have I seen Tariq Nasheed roast somebody unprovoked, right? And I'm talking about viciously roasting them. I only seen him one time with Kevin Hart, but any other time after that, I never seen him I never seen him roast somebody just unprovoked. I never seen him call somebody a tether as soon as they stated where they was from. So like that's why I'm saying like
Gotcha. In which
that's where
like
you're
I
coming
guess
from. That's why I said
if
people.
like I guess if I and I guess I'll also to where you're at, I'll address like wherever my critiques are with Tariq Nasheed. But I also would say I think that's a subjective thing. Like I've watched a couple things where I've heard him like call a woman a suspected white supremacist that I didn't specifically think was just, but that's subjective. So I think that I can clearly see where you can believe, like you could have the perspective of that, and yeah, it'd be right. I'm not opposed to that. These are my critiques. I don't really like. I have like really straight line critiques with him. Outside of that, as y'all say, like we FBA, so like I'll laugh at jokes and shit like that. That's cool. But my only critique that I've had, one was changing from Hidden Colors. If we've seen Hidden Colors all the way to where he's at now, it's a complete 180. And to me, I have not seen a full explanation of that makes sense to where it doesn't seem interesting, doesn't seem quote unquote suspicious, right? That doesn't discount everything that he did. Because I will also say at the same time, I can critique him and then give him his props. Where I think that from Hidden Colors 1, 2, I can't remember if it was 3 or 4 that was like the global white supremacy thing. But like he's put out information that has been beneficial. He's platformed a lot of great people. And so like I don't have a critique on that at all. Like I think that is good. I think a lot of us have critiques of very specific things, but it's not enough to where you completely write off who he is. I know that I don't write off like his impact across culture, especially if we talk about like I think right now is a great time for him. I think that from 2010 to 2016 probably was his best time, my opinion. Where his impact was felt the most. He platformed a lot of new black content and not content, like conscious people to have actual platforms. Go ahead.
Can I cut you off? So let me
Oh,
ask
go
you
ahead.
something. So are you saying that him segue into the whole FBA
Fat boy, you ain't
movement,
call
are you
in.
saying like that came
But
out
go
of
ahead.
nowhere?
Say it again one more time.
Did you? So are you saying like him going from Hidden Colors to like the FBA movement? Are you saying like is your thing like what he's coming at that from nowhere? Like it came out of nowhere, or he's doing it to
I
like
think
money
that
grab?
the drastic change is interesting, and
So all right, so when he says things like okay,
like going from
whenever
Pan
we fight for
Africanism to
something,
like FBA is a big jump to me.
yeah,
Never
no, it
said
is a big jump,
Pan-African.
but like the things that he's saying, you don't think that it has no type of validity to it. So like for instance, when he says something along the lines of, yeah, every single time we fight for something, it's always somebody who look like us who's undermining us, and then we gotta ask where they come from. That has no validity to it.
I don't think that that's like
Like a
close to.
like
I think that this is my opinion. I think the hyper
mhm.
focus on like black immigrants take away from the fight from like actual white supremacy, and I think that their impact is so low that it doesn't really matter inside the bigger scheme of the thing. So like the focus, like if we talk about like if we ratio things off, I think the ratio of attention to people that actually don't matter to us and the people that are actually taking from us. So like if we talk like let's talk about like who is. If
Mhm.
I've heard multiple people talk about like the migrants and all the resources. I heard most people talk about again, white supremacy. We can talk about a bunch of different people that are taking up the actual resources that come from black people. I mean that are for black people or could be used for the help of black people. I think that this small group of immigrants that don't like black people are meaningless in power. Their voice isn't really loud enough, in my opinion, that shakes the table to where to focus mainly on that doesn't make enough sense in comparison to like I just looked at Tariq Nasheed's page where instead of like the I think maybe it was like out of like the last 15, one of them dealt with Daniel Penny. One of them was like a reparations conversation, but the majority of it, I think like 12 out of 15 or something like that. I counted it at the time.
What about white
Was
supremacists?
it was based around like tether conversation.
But not white
And
supremacists. That's all. You don't see them talking about white supremacists too. Like anybody who calls up can get it.
listen, I'm just going like if I'm just going through the thumbnail, I didn't listen to every single video, but I know most of them, the picture, and again 12 out of 15. Maybe if I'm like loose, it might be 11 out of 15. I can't remember the number exactly right now. But it was based around that where I don't know if that like their impact is not as much as y'all just got on me about white supremacy and how much it is a big impact today. I don't know if they impact us enough to focus that much on them. That'd be my thing.
Well,
To what you're
That's not
saying.
us.
well,
I'm
let
looking
me-
at his
let-
page right now.
let me
I don't see
tell you-
majority.
I'm gonna tell you why I disagree with that, right? And
Okay.
I feel like I think that's dangerous, right? Because
Okay.
he just put out a hip hop documentary, right? And in the
Mhm.
hip hop documentary, the whole purpose of him putting that out there is because you have other groups talking about they are the founders of hip hop. And what happened with rock could very well happen to hip hop if we don't check that. And the only people and if we don't check that, if we're not checking for when people from saying, oh, well, we the originators of hip hop, then yeah, it could be erased in the history, just like how rock is. So like, and the whole thing with the whole thing with
but
Kamala
I
Harris,
think that
if
that's
Obama would have
cool.
never,
I'm my bad. I think that like I understand what you're saying, and I think the documentary, whether I agree with all the points of the documentary or not, I understand its place. But to me, if like this would be an example I'll give. I think that if y'all think that, and again, like usually using the pejorative tether, it if y'all don't like tethers, I think the biggest platform that I've seen, like I'm just now doing a deep dive on it, but the main place that I've seen people that y'all would call those words at are being platformed by him, and he has a huge audience. And my thing would be, if you don't like those people, why would you give that ideology such a big platform then?
But they call in. You make it seem like he's calling.
No, I get it, but like,
your idea of a tether, Q? Like, what
like
is your
I think
idea?
we
I don't use the terminology, so I don't have one. So that's why I'm just only going off of whatever your assumed perspective of it is.
So I mean, so Candace Owens is somebody as we would look at as a tether, right? Barack Obama is somebody that we would view as a tether.
But I guess I thought that she would be more of like Coon than Tether because she has like FBA lineage.
She has Caribbean.
Who? Kamala Harris?
No. Candace Owens.
Owens.
Like her grandfather is like South Carolina all the way down. I think her mother's side is like Caribbean or something like that. But from what I've heard from FBA is that if you have one side that goes back, so that would make her more Coon than Tether, right?
I mean, no, I mean, but she plainly I would say she identifies more with her Caribbean lineage more than any other.
That's what she says.
That's why we call her.
Okay. Listen, I don't care enough about her. I ain't got to argue for her.
No, but I'm going to make a point. So like it's I'm gonna say it's dangerous when you're making your critiques out of thumbnails or like little things that you're scanning. So
well, I listened to the entire, like I've listened to like 3 of them. I just didn't have. No, I listened to like 3 episodes, and I mean, like a lot of them end up being like 20-minute conversations with this tether. Like I don't know, like he'll throw like I'll just go to the thing and I can read some of them, but like he'll throw like a certain info on like what the tether is, and then it'll be like the clipping of that conversation. I don't know if it's like through his live call-in or if it's through his thing. Again, my only thing would be if you're really against them, I think that the fight for reparations is so much more important than like platforming them. I think that fighting for Daniel Penny to be convicted would be way more important than like the majority of your feed being that. Like if y'all hate each other so much, that's all I'm saying.
If one of the people who was holding, if one of the people who was holding the black dude down was came from an immigrant background, that's something that needs to be highlighted, right?
Right. No, but that's what I'm saying. Like I don't even know if that was like specifically highlighted. I also looked at I got the picture up here. When I look at this, it looked like it was 3 white men, but I think that if it was a guy that was an immigrant background, it should be highlighted. I don't even think that that's a bad thing. I'm not against that. Hey fellas, my bad. I figured that we will probably continue this and hey Don, give me 1 second really quickly.
No, go ahead.
Hey TB, I see you in the background. I love you, brother. I think that we kind of over, but if y'all want to stick around, just continue to have conversations. I think that that's fire. We got to just kind of wrap it really quickly. This has been a great conversation. We've had again a roller coaster of different versions of conversations, but I think that at the end of the day, it has been productive. There have been concessions on all sides, in which I think that at the end of the day, the platform is not specific to anything besides for having true Black intellectual thought. Today was about policing Black thought. I think that there's some spots where There's agreement, some spots where there's disagreement, but nonetheless, as all I think in here, I use the word FBA men. We were able to express that, especially towards the end, without pejoratives and ad hominems, and speak to actual like whether something logically lined up or not. I got pressed by Trey about victims. He got pressed about white women. I don't know. It was fun today. Nonetheless, this has been fire. That is G at the top. GH podcast. That is FBA's Trey. FBA Trey. Rider for the lineage. Don P is right there. Unc called in and TBI's in the background. Appreciate y'all. We out. Peace.